tonight we are delving even deeper into the world of Doom Pilgrim because a new expansion is out. And let me just show you the cover for that. It is right here.
It's upside down.
It is upside down. Now it is not.
Amazing, can I just say, and this is for you, Waclaw, amazing artwork. Not only in Doom Pilgrim, which we enjoyed a lot, but also I've seen some of the cards already, sneak peeked on a few of the cards for Doom Deeper. It looks awesome. I think it's so cool that you've now done 150 pieces of art for this fantasy world.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking amazing.
It's pretty amazing. So all these cards, I also want to just promo a little bit for Waclaw because a lot of these cards that you're going to see tonight are actually also available for buying in larger prints or even original artwork from Waclaw at his droned artworks.
What size is it? What size is the original art?
As far as I know, it's either A4 or A3. But Waclaw cannot chip in, of course. So those are also available. So we're gonna show you all the cards as we play along, give you a little bit of a close up on them. They are really awesome, and the expansion adds 3 new types of cards or 3 new categories of cards. So there are cards which are horrible. I think I haven't peeked at them, but it sounds like there are cards that will end your pilgrimage very fast. There are also cards that are friendly, that will aid you along your pilgrimage. So we may encounter friends along the way. We didn't have a lot of friends last time.
I hope so.
And then there are mysterious cards that are called pagan cards. And what that means, I have no idea. But some kind of paganism is involved.
Paganism is abound.
So to just give you an idea of how we've set this thing up, because there is really sort of a mix and match thing. There are no instructions on how to do this. You can't do this right or wrong, really. But the base game has, if I remember correct, 90 cards, and the expansion has 50-something cards. So what we've done is that we've taken like a 50-50 match. So we have half of the cards are from the base game, and the other half are from the expansion. We're not using all the expansion cards, but we're using a fair deal of them, and then we just mix them all up. So they're gonna come out, come out in whatever order they're gonna come out.
So basically, we're playing a one-of-a-kind instance of this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a unique, random mix of this game, which is pretty awesome, which also means that every time you mix the card, I mean, you can choose your own poison, right? You can mix in all the friendly cards if you want like an easier journey, or you can mix in all the really bad cards if you want it to end all the time.
But this game is not called Happy-Go-Lucky Good Time Pilgrim.
No, it is called Doom Pilgrim. And I also want to point out, actually, there are 2 types of card here, and if you buy the game, the cards, they will look completely similar, but because we had the base game printed by our great friend Jan, big shout out to our great friend Jan, and as you can see, he printed the cards here, which is approximately the same size as the new cards. There's an example of each here, and this card here, which is from the base game, here has more rounded corners than the other. I don't know if you can see that. So the corners are more rounded on the base game cards and a little more sharp on the expansion card, but that's basically just because we had these printed ourselves. So of course, if you buy the games, you'll have like identical cards. So there's a slight difference here, but you know, it doesn't matter in the slightest, because this is all a game that's all about looking at the cards, looking at the artwork, and going deep into the artwork, and
going deeper even.
Going deeper into the artwork, and making choices based on the artwork.
Please let us know if something is awry. For instance, this candle is kind of obstructing. It's probably gonna keep obstructing, no matter where I put it. But that's fine. Gonna burn down eventually.
Oh, I can see. Waclaw says that the originals are actually the same cards size, so they postcard size. Okay,
very cool.
Yeah, very cool. And If you were here a little bit before we started the stream, you would also have seen a lot of lithographs in our slideshow today. And those are all lithographs from the mid-19th century made for John Bunyan's book, Pilgrim's Progress. And that's a book from 16th century, perhaps. It's a long time ago anyway. And that is this allegorical pilgrimage tale. And when I first heard about Doom Pilgrim, that was sort of immediately the point of reference. Pilgrim's Progress, because that's this allegorical book where the main character is called Christian, and he travels through all these lands, and he meets sorrow and despair and doubt and he has to overcome all these obstacles in order to arrive at the gates of Eden or paradise or a place of enlightenment and union with the Lord. And I don't know, I mean, we might be looking for something similar today, but I'm not sure we're going to find it.
Before we get to that, I have one last thing that's unique about today and about this game, is that what we're listening to now in the background, as the background music, is actually the soundtrack to the game. So this game has its own soundtrack.
It was created by an artist called Nightmare Spirit.
Nightmare Spirit, yeah. Great, creepy, dungeon synthy, atmospheric niceness.
With a lot of really ominous coughing.
Yes. It's not good when the villager starts coughing. That's when you get the hell out of there. Tatsumitra, I like the roguelite feel to the setup. Yes. It's very light, it's very simple. And is it a roguelite? Could you say it's a roguelite game?
I would say it's a rogue-heavy game.
Rogue-heavy game.
We tended to die a lot last time anyway. I don't know if that is the only thing that would make a game rogue-light, but it's pretty heavy.
Roguelike, that means you die all the time. Roguelite, does it mean you'd carry something with you for your next run or something?
Maybe, I mean...
We don't know.
No, but this is certainly a game that is really challenging, but it's also a game that you cannot... I mean, you can lose, but I don't actually think you can win. I mean, what counts for a victory here? Going through all the cards?
I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't...
Is there a way to sort of reach the goal of your pilgrimage? To find the enlightenment somehow?
We're going to find out, but I think what I would like us to do actually today, because that was something we discovered when we streamed Doom Pilgrim last, that this game actually shines the most when you set up a kind of story quest for yourself. So there may be multiple runs today, depending on how it goes, but I like the idea that we try to look for a card that may not exist in this game. We're looking for some kind of relief or some kind of respite from all this doom and darkness that we're surrounded by.
And I don't think we don't even know exactly what that is. We're searching for enlightenment. We've been told by the ancient elders of the village to go seek out this ancient tome. But seeing as they always speak in riddles, it's hard to know, is it a physical tome? Is it something, is it a spell that has to be cast by a wizard in the north? What is it exactly? We don't know yet.
All we know is that all the crops have failed for like 3 years in a row. And when we look out over the fields, all the livestock are lying dead in the field. Several of the houses have just mysteriously burned down in the night over these last months. And there is a lot of ominous coughing coming from inside the huts in this village. I don't know what it is. I mean, it may just be like breadcrumbs in their throat.
Could it be pollen, like... Yeah. Tatsuvicha says, roguelite perhaps is the infinite variance, I guess, and the many deaths.
Yeah, infinite variance for sure, and also many deaths, yeah.
The real treasure is the friends you make along the way. Well, we'll see how many friends are available for interaction in this land here.
I was thinking that before we start our quests, should we light a bit of incense for divine
Indeed.
god of death who is sitting here. Let me just go grab some incense.
Yeah. So I'm just... Oh, you got it.
And we're gonna go with
Ritualistic incense.
we're gonna go here with a pine incense.
Ooh, how romantic.
Yeah, it's reminds us of the pine forest that used to be around the village.
That has since burned down.
Yeah, they're all withered and they haven't bloomed. If pine trees bloom, they haven't done so for years.
That rules out the pollen theory.
Yeah, definitely. That coughing is something else. Yeah. And I think it's also tied to the fact that the elders want us to seek out something, because perhaps we're really the only capable person left in the village. We're the only youngish person who may be able to carry this forward. Everyone else is either left or died or lying sick at home. But perhaps in some way the elders sees us as chosen in the sense that we have not been infected yet.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, why is that?
What special powers do we possess?
Mm-hmm.
What makes us stand out from the rest? Why haven't we caught the coughing?
There's something special about us, I think.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
That's what my mom used to say.
I don't know what it is, though.
No, we're yet to find out. So join us for this journey deep into the doomed lands.
Yes. And let me just briefly tell you how we're going to do this. So what you see here in front of us are 3 cards that we have chosen from this pilgrimage deck. And each turn, so to speak, in the game, what we're going to do is we're going to choose 1 card, which is where we're going to go. Then we're going to choose 1 card that goes to the bottom of the deck. So we might encounter that later.
Oh, I remember now.
And then we choose 1 card that goes completely out of the game that we'll never see again on this stream, at least this session. And that's basically it. That's how we roll. There are no other rules. And then there are like very detailed rules from many, many different ways in which you can be doomed. And that's it.
Yeah, and we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah. I think the magic number is 3. If you have like 3 curses, 3 diseases, 3 something, then it's game over.
And just to reiterate, or what is it called, to sum up, one card that we throw out or throw in the bottom of the deck.
Yes.
1 card that we actually activate or we go towards.
Yeah.
And 1 that stays in.
1 that we throw out of the game.
Or being thrown out completely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So basically we're saying we want to go to 1 card, another card we might want to go to later, and 1 card we're definitely not going to go to. So that's how it rolls. So I guess it's morning. We've had like a little...
Fog is lifting from the barren lands around the village.
We can see the silhouettes of the Elder Ones standing behind us as they bid us a good journey.
We've gotten a piece of bread and some cheese from one of the local shops.
And you say they've tasked us to find a tome. So let's do that. Let's see if we're able to find a tome and we can make our way back after having found that tome. Then let's see what happens back at the village.
Yeah, so let's see how if they'll have us back.
Yeah, and let's see what that tome actually does.
Jeden says, I can't wait. No, I can't wait either.
Well, then we just have to get going, I guess.
So, okay, what do we have here in front of us? The first leg of our journey.
We're leaving the village, and there are various encounters out there. So the first one is... Are they swords stuck into the ground like a fence? Like a fence of swords?
Maybe that's sort of the edge of the village. As we leave,
right,
we pass the gates.
Right.
The feeble gates of the village. Not able to hold back anything if any attack were to happen from wolves or something.
No, I mean, we used our swords for the fence. I mean,
exactly.
That's like a very defensive move.
We don't have any sword-bearing able bodies.
Right. These are all the men that we lost in the village that were supposed to fight for us. And do you, as I, see a shadow to the left looming?
Is that a premonition of what's to come?
Maybe.
Is it our shadow staying behind as we leave?
Ooh, I like that. Wow, okay.
Poetic.
Poetic, yeah, cool. Okay, so that's one possibility, is that we turn around to check our own shadow. If
And
it
it's
is,
and it's not gonna leave.
maybe not.
Maybe not. We'll see.
We'll see. The other possibility is that we look up in the sky, and up in the sky, there is something pretty horrible looking flying over the village.
A winged demon bat.
Yeah, I mean, that clearly looks like something that could be influencing the village in negative ways.
Could it be a mode of transportation, perhaps?
Ooh, perhaps if we embrace the darkness.
It looks scary, but it's actually super cool. Nice.
I mean, I'm also not sure whether these elders who send us out, to what extent they're actually in contact with everything that's happening in the village. They may also be able to harness some of these dark powers. I mean, I'm sure they mean good, but this looks like something like that a sorcerer conjured, or a familiar or something, right?
Yeah, a sorcerer's familiar.
Yeah, who's flying out, perhaps checking, perhaps it's checking, flying, spying out
Kind
on
of
what's
scouting,
going on.
like one of Odin's ravens.
Perhaps you're right. Perhaps that could be a vehicle to get us to us. I mean, we're jumping to potentially desperate and dangerous conclusions, but
Yeah, let's just be clear. We don't know if we're right. This is guesswork here. So we can hope we're right. But it'll be revealed once we choose a card.
we have to take these leaps of faith all the time, right?
We're on the edge.
We're at the edge of the village. There is the fence. There is that demon-looking bat-like thing flying around the sky, and then there is something else. I don't know if this... It almost looks like it could be a statue of someone, or it could be... It could be, I don't know, someone from the village, someone who is challenging that we're leaving, someone who wants to hold us back, or someone who wants to leave in our stead. Like a champion of someone, but he's got chains around his neck, so he may also be a prisoner or a slave, or perhaps that's the only way to keep people working in the fields these days, is to, like, chain them down and then give them with a sword so they can defend themselves. I don't know. But yeah, we need to make our first choice. So what's it gonna be? There's looking back at our shadow. I like that because it's kind of a way of bidding goodbye.
Yeah, that's a great start, I think.
It is a beautiful start. I also like the idea that it's a familiar, though I think there's also a chance that it comes down and bites our neck and drains our blood or whatever. And then, I don't know, I'm not too keen on that guy with the chains, and because it seems like that he's like holding us back. I don't see like any future in him, really.
It looks like trouble, I would say.
Yeah, and just, I mean, we're not going out immediately looking for trouble, right? We're going out looking for a tome. And it's just, but again, as I remember, this game is never that simple, right? The cards can trick you.
And Jeden has an interesting thought here. What does the feather mean?
Oh yeah, interesting. There is a feather on top of one of the swords, I think. There. We all see it. Yeah, what does that mean? Is it... Let me just look closer. Yeah. Why is there a feather stuck to that sword? I mean...
I'm intrigued by the first card, I gotta say.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think
because it's going in so many directions. Because this one, even though he is a physically impressive guy, this one, I'm not a fan of the chains and the swords.
No.
It's a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, and I also think just for right now, this looks like maybe like if this was the guardian of the tome or something, it would make more sense. But this seems like running into this guy right off the bat just doesn't fit, right?
It's bad news.
Should we kick him out of the game?
I would love to see him gone. I am not very interested in that character.
We're gonna throw him out. Gonna make a graveyard over here. Okay, there we go. So, and then what I feel that we're etching towards is that we want to kind of look back and we want to have a real farewell with this village, turn around and see who's following us.
Yeah.
Is it our own shadow? Is it someone else? And then maybe hope that later we can encounter this card and perhaps it can help us and take us somewhere. Yeah.
I think so, because I wanna sort of conclude our little goodbye session here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So I think it would be fitting to go to the gates of the village.
Then let's take this card and put it at the bottom of the deck. Oh, there's gonna be. I mean, it's a good night that we reach that card again, though. But anyway, it's there. And then what we do now, we're choosing this card, and then we're gonna flip it around, and we're gonna see what happens.
Let's go.
Ooh, okay. It's the Whisperer from the Dark.
Oh no.
Someone is standing in the dark at the dirty corner behind the inn where you've come to relieve yourself. So we're just having like a farewell piss?
We did. I think relieve, well, maybe, but it was like we had to, we're going on a long journey. We got to get ready before leaving town. We might as well take care of business.
Yeah. So, and we ask him sort of why he's watching us. And he says that we shouldn't come too close to him. I don't know whether he's someone else or whether it's a shadow or what it is. And he says that he's here to warn us.
Now you tell us. Well, it's a good thing you're warning us now before we leave.
But it is as if he speaks, but the word doesn't come out of his mouth, but it's in our ears instantly.
Do you think it's still our shadow talking to us?
But yeah, I'm kind of wondering. I mean, he kind of speaks directly in our ears, as if no one else is hearing what he's saying, and the voice has a slight feminine touch, it says that someone wants us dead.
The elders?
I don't know. He says that someone is on our trail. They sent someone to end us. This is not a good start to our journey.
It's not a good start. I'm also wondering, are we the one being sent out to kill someone? Is he talking? Is it even meant for us, these words?
Wow.
Could it be, that this is a warning going across the lands? That
everyone has a mark. Everyone has a mark.
Yeah. And or either that or we are sort of we have been sent to execute someone. Maybe the tome is a life of someone else.
I mean, if it is a shadow, that might fit, right?
Yeah.
That he's we're kind of an echo of what he's saying.
Yeah.
He does say that, we're trying to ask him more questions, but suddenly the figure is gone, disappears into the shadows, becomes one with it, and we're looking around.
Someone turn on the light.
Yeah. We're looking around.
Turned off the light, maybe.
I don't know if we see our shadow anymore.
No.
Do we?
No, it's gone.
It's gone. Whoa.
Powerful magic afoot.
Shit. So we're venturing into this world without a shadow?
This can't be good.
This can't be good. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, grave danger will strike when least expected. So we have here something that says that the next time that we pick up a companion, if we pick up a companion, it is the assassin, and his dart does not miss. We die.
Okay, so it is actually a target on our back.
It is a target on our back, and it may be our own shadow somehow betraying us. Perhaps a shadow has become torn from us.
Already the complications are deep.
So we carry now the mark of death.
Great.
Anyone who tries to befriend us will kill us.
No. I just wanted
What an auspicious start to our journey.
I just wanted to be loved. It's not possible anymore. Okay. Well, so be wary of strangers, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Let me try to place this somewhere where you guys can see it, because I think we need to keep this as a reminder. When we kind of choose which card we're going to follow, we have to remember that if a card looks like someone who might befriend us, that could be fatal.
So maybe we should have kept the meat cleaver guy in. Or he could also have been a friend. We don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so the perils are real.
Yes.
In the Doom lands.
But we've left the village. We've lost our shadow.
Yeah.
We have a target on our back.
Yeah.
And we're on our own. There's no one in this world that's going to help us.
Okay.
So what we're looking at...
This is an all great story start.
Yeah. I mean, I think the stakes have been raised to the extreme level.
Definitely.
I mean, this already seems impossible.
For sure. Okay.
But
so
we're one card in.
So what is next here? What's next on the table?
We have here what looks like... Oh, let me just shine there. Looks like an old lady who is carrying a bundle of firewood, perhaps, on her back. And she's trudging through the mountains.
It looks peaceful enough.
Yeah, she does have that conspicuously long nose that witches sometimes have.
Ooh, I heard about that.
Yeah, who heard about that? And is there something in the sky in the top right corner, or is that just like a bit of bad weather? Or
it could be a meteor, or it could be a faint fire burning on a mountainside far away.
a distant eye looking down from the sky?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So that's one possibility. What I'm thinking already there,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm afraid now even of old ladies because
If she's friendly, we have a problem. If she is antagonistic, we have a problem.
damned if
What
you
are we
do.
to do? P.T.R. Wilson, that old lady looks suspiciously friendly. Stay away. Exactly. Then, who can we trust anymore?
No one. which strangely enough makes the next card more attractive in the sense that this looks like some hellish creature with like a mouth that goes from ear to ear, and he's got a companion in the back, who also look like terrifying.
There also seems to be some guard towers or distant churches or something.
Yeah, is it a tower in the background there?
Yeah. And a rising crimson moon.
Did the elders say anything about where the tome was kept? Or did we miss that part? Is it buried, or is it? I guess someone has it, right?
Yeah.
Some wizard somewhere has it.
Yeah.
And perhaps we need to steal it from him.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to part with it himself.
No.
I'm starting to wonder whether that demon creature that was in the sky, whether that was sent by that wizard because he knew that we were coming to look for that book, and whether it's the wizard who painted that target on our back, and he has cast a spell over us, so anyone we meet who we befriend will immediately turn enemy, even if they're not.
He saw us leaving the city. He knew what was
City.
yes, well, the town, and he knew what was up. He knew that we were coming for him. So he instantly, through his network of underground thieves and spies, he sent a target on our back.
Yeah, I think that's the story.
Damn.
Interesting. And now there are these creatures, which may be creatures also sent by him to destroy us, but it may also be a trick, because perhaps the riddle here is that we should trust those who we think we should not trust.
Yes, indeed.
That may be the riddle.
Tatsivitra says, they're all assassins. Luckily for you, you can definitely trust people in the chat, right? Oh no! We're infected by turncoats.
Right. Then there is another card here, which is also strangely ominous looking. I'm trying to avoid the glare.
Looks like an elk or some mystical creature.
Someone worshipping a black moon is what I'm seeing. Or what?
Oh yes, it could be arms raised to the heavens.
Yeah.
In holy prayer.
Or are those branches from a tree, or is it
I thought it was a moose or an elk or something.
Okay. Oh, like horns from a deer.
But it could also be like a beast lord praying.
No, I think you're right, but I think it's a combination. I think it's like an elk with horns, but those horns are also worshipping the black moon.
Wow.
So interestingly, the thing is now, one of those three creatures is an assassin, right? Is it the old lady? Is it those frightful-looking monsters? Or is it that moose that's praying?
The moon moose.
The moon moose that's worshipping the black moon.
I think, well, first of all, I have to say the moon moose card looks so cool.
Yeah.
I really I don't want to live there, but I want to know more about it.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that card.
I feel that going towards the moose card, that is going in the face of danger, which may be the right thing to do. But I feel like that's just embracing this thing.
We can't chicken out now on this quest because the only way to survive actually is to face danger head on.
Right. And there is the old woman that looks friendly. There are the monsters that look nothing like friendly, that looks like they'll tear us apart.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think maybe we have a knife or something, like a kitchen knife. I mean, all those swords were stuck into the ground when we left. Perhaps we got one of them.
Maybe we just snagged one.
Yeah. We have like a rusty sword, but nothing that looks like it could compete with these guys here.
Not at all.
Those terrifying monsters. So
it may be all right to slice our bread, but it won't slice those guys.
No. But if we start kind of from the back and say, what for sure do we not want to meet again?
Jeden suggests this might be a demonic ball game.
Oh, like that Aztec ball game or Mayan board game. I'm not quite sure if it's Mayan or Aztec.
Or Aztec, yeah.
Where it's like a ritual board game, or not a board game, a ball game.
Yeah.
Where you play with a huge rubber ball and you have these belts around your waist and they hit the ball with their feet and their hips and they're trying to get it into this small aperture at the side of the playing field, and the royal family and all the priests are sitting up there in the stands looking down, and whoever loses the game is sacrificed.
Wow. It's a game you don't want to play.
Yeah, it's a historical game. There are beautiful reliefs at museums around the world where you can see these ball game players, and also some of them with their heads cut off.
So it's not only love that's a loser's game.
No.
Maybe Jeden says maybe we can sneak past it. They look occupied. So yeah, you're right. Actually, there could be a point in this card here. I'm assuming that if they're occupied by the black moon,
yeah,
we may be able to sneak past.
But also what I'm feeling is that the black moon is, we already know that this is about sorcery. So I think the black moon is kind of where we're headed. Yes. And we can do it in a roundabout way, or we can go directly. But we're not going to see this card again.
No.
So the question is that these other two cards, they seem almost like distractions. They seem like this is a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation.
For sure.
And then there is the third option.
I think it's just instinctually, this card is just so pure. It has true dark demonic wizardry written all over it.
Right.
And so we have to investigate.
I think we have to. So the question then is, which of the other two cards are going to leave the game completely? What do we not want to encounter again?
Well,
I mean, it seems like we're always trying to get away from those direct confrontations, right? Like the guy with chains and swords and axes.
Yeah, he was signaling that he was bad news.
Yeah.
But maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't.
Maybe he wasn't. But I don't know. I would be more curious, I think, about meeting the old hag later than I would be in meeting those two stone golems or whatever they are.
You don't fancy them?
Not really. I mean, they seem to me like something that's like elemental creatures that's been sort of, wrestle themselves free of the stone and
like it's almost like moss or mold is growing on their bodies.
Yeah. They're like elemental creatures.
Should we get rid of them?
I think so. Yeah. I feel like it. Unless you have you want to get rid of the old lady?
No, I'm happy to get rid of them because I can smell them from here.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I'm not that curious about them.
So we're skirting past these guys.
Tatsevicius says the winners of the Aztec or Mayan ball game are sacrificed even.
Oh, I thought it was the losers. Too bad if it's the winners, but that's even more beautiful.
Yeah. And then, anyway, Tatsevicius says, ditch the old lady. She's definitely in trouble. Well, we are halfway ditching her.
Yeah, we're sending her. I mean, we see her pass the road in the distance, and for a moment we're thinking, should we approach her? But given what we were just warned about,
we might meet her later, but we're not going to engage her now.
No, she's just passing by.
Conflicting views on the golems. Tatsevicius says keep the golems. Jeden says they look super hungry, which may or may not be a good thing.
I mean, if we had some food for them.
Yeah.
But I think we're the only food around. All the crops have failed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is a fair call.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, let's go.
Let's leave the old lady.
has already revealed himself as a turncoat, so we can't trust him anyway.
Yeah, and he was the one who pointed out that you might not be able to trust people in chat. So
exactly. So we'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Yeah. So here you see what we're going towards. Wishes luck.
Such a cool artwork. Come on.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Amazing.
Who wouldn't choose this card?
And it's even as if they are rising from some sort of black sea or...
Yeah, it could also be a heap of bones, I was thinking at one point, but then I thought that I shouldn't think like that.
Keep positive thoughts.
All right, guys, let's see what happens. We have arrived at the pagan lands. Ooh.
The misty lands.
It was some time ago when you saw the last trace of Christianity. People in these distant lands either have not heard about the one and only Lord or they refused him. In both cases, they are damned. Read in full only the paragraphs that apply to you. So what we're venturing into this land, and it turns out, I don't know if we are Christian or there is a Christian background or the elders are Christian, but we've ventured into lands that have not heard about Christianity. We're venturing into pagan. I thought we were kind of pagan ourselves.
Yeah, that was my feeling also.
Yeah, but maybe
maybe it's like a deep-rooted. Originally, it came from sort of Christian Orthodox thing, and slowly degenerated into whatever the elders are practicing now.
Yeah, maybe that's just. Yeah, it's just the usual abuse of power from the elders under the guise of something that was once Christianity, perhaps.
Yeah.
But now we ventured into the truly pagan lands. And these, in the views of the Christians at least, these people are damned. So we now have to check for various things.
Okay,
Let's
interesting.
see. Okay. Are we a saint? No.
No.
We actually have to like be a saint. We have to be.
Oh, we have to practice in the game.
In the game, we have to have been.
Well, in
somehow,
the game, we're not a lot of things.
No.
So far, we're still curious. We're still searching.
This is very early, and maybe, I think that was also the idea that we're venturing right into the heart of darkness. Maybe a little bit too early, but what can you do?
See.
So, do we still have do we still have all our organ pairs intact? That is, do we still have both hands, both feet, both eyes?
Yeah, except for a shadow, we have everything.
Yeah, well, we don't have a shadow. That might be something to consider, but it's also kind of scary that they asked that question.
Yeah, I don't like it.
What would happen if we didn't have? I don't know. Let's see. Do we have a pagan companion?
No, we're not. We can't have companions.
We don't even have a shadow here. Like, we're so far from companions.
We can't have friends anymore.
Non-pagan human companions? No. Are we cursed?
Well, was it a curse that was bestowed upon us, or was it just
No, it was not a curse. It was just a target on our back.
Oh, okay.
And then they're apparently trading for trophies, and there are also a shaman there. So I think the question is now if how we want to go about this. Do we want to say that, as you pointed out, that we don't have a shadow, that counts as us not having?
Do we want to be that forthcoming?
I mean, or do we feel that we have a curse now, or?
I don't think it's a curse. I think it may be the natural consequence of leaving our city. We can't, none of the inhabitants of our city can leave with their shadow intact.
Right.
So the city is cursed, yes.
Yes.
But we're not cursed ourselves directly.
But because I think what we're trying to find out is how do they react to us, and if there's nothing like conspicuous about us, they just want to trade with us if we have anything, or we can ask their shaman to heal us if we're wounded. But I'm just wondering if we do have some condition that might make them react to us in a special way.
Well, Yedden seems to think that we're cursed with loneliness.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I think we should reveal that sad fact about ourselves.
No, but I think the point that the card is asking is if we have any marks that they would notice in us. So it's not whether we reveal it.
Yeah, I see, but I don't think we have. I don't think there's anything to be afraid of here, because we're still a blank canvas, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. But if they sense that we are cursed, or if they sense that there's something missing from us, somehow that make us like not a normal symmetrical human being, they may react to us in a different way. So I'm just probing to see if that applies, because I also a little bit have a sense that I feel a little cursed. I feel a little like we lost our shadow, like we may not come off as your usual wanderer tradesman.
No, definitely not. Okay.
But I'm open for ideas.
I see that you're.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's a good thing. It may be a very bad thing.
Maybe a bad thing. We could be forthcoming and just say, hey, we lost our shadow. We could just lay it all on the table.
Yeah.
We have a hit on us, or what do you call it? The contract killing is on our heads, and we lost our shadows, and we're on a quest that our elders gave us, and we don't know what to do about it. And frankly, we're a little bit scared.
So does that mean that they consider us cursed, or that they consider that we are missing some part of our humanity?
Well, the shadow would be part of our humanity. We can go down. We can say that. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's try.
Yeah. I kind of
missing a shadow is something.
It is. I mean, even though it's a very dark world, they might still be able to see that we don't have a shadow. And it is something that tend to freak people out when you don't have a shadow, right?
Yeah.
Let's try.
Cool party trick.
All right. So. Okay, so they react super suspiciously to us as we walk into their group of huts, and they can clearly see like something's off, and they consider us to be some kind of demonic force. So we're going towards them, and we're basically asking for advice, I guess, because we're trying to look for this tome.
Yeah,
We're trying to be friendly. Not so friendly that they would be our companions, but we're trying to be...
No, but we have to interact with whoever we meet, because we're kind of stuck here. Otherwise, we're not going to progress.
Yeah. So we do go and try to speak with them, but as we go further into the village, there's a mob that starts forming around us.
Damn.
And suddenly we find us down a blind alley, and they jump us.
Fuck.
And they beat us up severely and take us by whatever is left of the shreds that we're wearing and throw us out of their camp.
I think what happened was that as we were walking down, like the torches that light up this little kind of small city streets there, or small town streets, everyone is casting a shadow up against the tents and the walls, except for us.
Except for us, yeah. I think that's right.
And they immediately sense this guy's not normal.
So now what happens is that we have received a wound that can never heal. So we have now like a wound that, I don't know, maybe over time it becomes fatal, but it's a wound that can never heal. So we've lost our shadow.
Yeah.
We're wounded in a non-reversible way.
We can't have friends. Cursed with loneliness.
This is truly a wonderful game and truly a wonderful journey.
Truly a hopeless game.
Yeah.
Tatsevitra says, "You're blessed, but by what God?" Oh no. Drep de kristne, says Stegen Deluxe. We are the Christians in this one, I think. We might.
He says, yeah, okay, kill the Christians, yeah.
I think you stumbled into Norway there. Yeah, I think so too.
Oops, yeah. Okay, look, the positive spin here. We survived. We have this mysterious wound that we put bandages on it, but every time we stop to rest, the bandages have bled through, and we change them, and it just never really stops bleeding.
But we are, if nothing else, we are resilient. And that's maybe why we were chosen for this mission.
I mean, I'm sure the elders had a plan. I think, if they just wanted to kill us, they would just have done that.
Yeah.
So I do think that we do have some power. But we're also turning into something demonic ourselves, perhaps.
Well, that's how these kind of pilgrimages go. You can't go on a pilgrimage without changing.
Right.
And it's up to you, or perhaps the world, to sort of see to it that you change appropriately.
Yeah, or perhaps there's also just that fact that you don't know how you will change. And perhaps something true about your character will reveal itself.
Could also be that the appropriate response to a doomed world is to turn into a monster.
Maybe what's happening here is what's happening all around us. And we're trying to reverse that. But slowly, as we get closer to the source of this plague, we are turning into the monsters ourselves.
Exactly. You cannot go into that world and come back unaffected. It plagues you. It haunts you.
It reminds me of the role-playing game Vampire the Masquerade that came out in the 90s by White Wolf. It had that quote on the back of the game because you were playing as vampires. You were feeding off normal humans in order to sustain yourself. And on the back it said, "Monsters we are, lest monsters we become."
There you go.
There you go. So yeah, maybe you just need a little bit of poison.
I think you need poison in order to what do you call it? To become immune.
Right.
To build immunity.
Yeah.
But that immunity, like it can turn you hard.
Well,
it can turn you, like the cold as steel.
We may not be able to come back from this.
No.
But so
he who stares into the abyss and so on and so forth.
So we walked through these dark lands, but we came out on the other side, changed.
Yes.
And where do we go now?
Oh, well, let's see. You want to draw some new?
Yeah, let's do it.
This one, this looks like Norway, actually.
Yeah, I mean, what do we have here? Here we have a landscape of sorts, but it's full of is that like a fence, like a gate?
Cemetery gates?
Yeah, it looks like they're not very well kept, right?
No.
But that we have seen that tower in the distance before. That was behind the two
golems.
Yeah, behind the two golems.
Maybe we've been traveling more or less in that direction.
Yeah,
keeping that sort of as a focus, like
and maybe
guiding light.
We skirted away from the golems and we went through the pagan lands, and now we've come close to the tower, which may be the source of the plague, or it may be also the source of the relief from the plague.
The tome.
The tome.
And I like it looks like a cemetery or the entrance to a long forgotten settlement. And then there are the looming towers in the background. Yeah.
It doesn't it doesn't look very like. It looks a little bit like a village, I would say.
Yes, maybe we're not the only village suffering in this world.
Oh.
Could be other settlements who maybe also need our help.
But in our village, we don't have big structures like that tower. So that's interesting. So apparently we're there where the golems came from. Then there is this here. I don't know if you can see it for the glare.
Is that a shepherd's staff?
It looks like something that could be a shepherd's staff. I agree. And then the skies are kind of riveted by something. And it almost seems like a group of pilgrims. I don't know if they are spears or staffs that they're carrying.
Are they? Could it be a flock of druids going to perform some ritual in the forest?
Could it be that every village in this land has chosen someone to venture out?
Yeah.
And as we're moving closer to the tower, we may not know what it is that we're participating in. Maybe all the remaining strong young people in these villages are being drawn to the tower, and their energy will be sapped by the wizard who lives there. And the elders are basically being manipulated by him or controlled by him.
To send their last healthy specimen.
Yeah.
To come to the grand ritual.
And everyone has been told that when you go there, you will find salvation and relief. But we're actually moving closer to a dark ritual that will only, strengthen the hold of this plague on the lands.
That's a dastard, evil scheme. And we're falling prey to as of right this moment.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking is I'm beginning to understand that what it is that our shadow was trying to tell us. The shadow was trying to tell us that a good friend is a friend who kills you. Because that's the only way that you can avoid participating in this dark ritual in the tower.
Damn.
So perhaps we have to die.
Damn.
To save.
And it's the only way to sort of break the curse of being sent to that tome or the ritual, the grand ritual. So if we just fall in line with the druids that are also heading to the rituals, unbeknownst to them, they're walking straight into a sacrificial ritual.
We were lucky enough to have our shadow warn us, and our shadow was so afraid that it even left us.
It didn't want no part of it.
It didn't want any part of it. No, I think that could be it. I think that is that's what it's trying to tell us. And so we need to find a friend who can kill us.
Yeah, the only way we're going to escape.
It's the only way we can escape, because we do not have the power to do that ourselves. Because we are under the thrall of the spell.
And there is just no way that we can compete with this curse that we're under, because basically we have two options. Either we find someone to end our life, to get out of the ritual, or we seek out the ritual. Yes. But if we seek out the ritual, the wizard is much too powerful for us to do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we seek out the ritual, we will need to have some kind of some special magic item or some power, some spell, something to confront.
So what we're looking for now, I think our motivation has changed slightly, coming to this realization that we're walking into a trap, basically.
Yeah.
We need to find the person destined to kill us.
Yes. Let's see here the third card. What does that tell us? That looks like a drinking horn, except that smokes come out of it.
Is it a pipe?
Is it a pipe, or it's like
primitive
black smoke coming out of it? And I don't know if it's a ritual device or if it's something that can reveal something to us if you drink it.
Could it also be...
Could it be someone sitting by the side of the road holding this out, tempting us to take it?
Could also be someone offering us back our shadow.
Oh, because you see the shadow in the darkness that comes out of the horn?
He's carrying around a shadow. It could be our shadow.
Okay, look, from what we have realized, Drink of eternity, Jeden says. Yeah.
Very nice. This is a very bleak view on the modern welfare society.
Well, it is Halloween.
Well, Stegen, you can either, become a civil servant or you can play Doom Pilgrim. The result is the same.
I think it's more fun to play Doom Pilgrim.
Yeah, it's much faster. It's a shorter game.
yeah. Civil Servant is a really long game.
It's a long war.
But judging from a situation here, so there is basically the grounds where the castle is, but there are no people. So that would be us sneaking up alone to the castle, I think.
Yeah, and we're not that kind of character. We don't have any spells. We don't have any weapons. We don't have any powers that enable us to serve.
Then we really have to be self-confident if we choose this path.
Yeah, and we're not really there.
Then there is following in line, and we know that that's a trap.
That's just going to the slaughter.
Yeah, it's not going to fly. So perhaps our best option is to quaff the drink.
Could even be like if it's our shadow, or if it's a drink of power, or it's a friend could be a friend.
You mean an assassin?
Yeah, but in this case, if this is a cursed drink, like a poisonous drink, could be what we need.
Yeah. No, I think we're talking ourselves into this card, right?
Yes.
So someone is sitting by the side of the road. Maybe just from the shadows, a hand shoots out, holding the smoking, drinking horn. And we stop a little, and we see the procession of the other pilgrims walking ahead of us. And we stay back a little while, and we consider maybe there's another way out of this. Someone's trying to tell us something.
Yeah.
So which card are we going to throw out? The pilgrims or the landscape?
I think the landscape is just not in our character at all, because the landscape to me represents finding an alternative route, finding a secret entrance, trying to go in, sneak up, and thwart the ritual somehow.
Yeah. So maybe,
and that's just not. We're not Indiana Jones. We're not equipped to do that.
Pretty far from it. So maybe we will encounter the pilgrims again. I also like the idea that pilgrims are walking around these lands, and we may encounter them again. So, okay, let's get rid of the landscape. And let's put the pilgrims at the bottom of the deck. And you guys ready for it out there? Yeah, Drink of Eternity, maybe. Let's see.
Drink of Eternity would be a poisonous suicide drink.
Absolutely. Under these circumstances, absolutely. The card reads, Depths of Your Soul. Ooh. Oh, this is it.
This is the one.
So we yeah. So let me just see what happens here as we're given this drink. We're given this drink and this voice again coming from the shadow, but not really coming from the mouth of anyone, but almost like an inner voice that we hear in our ear, tells us.
So it's the same type of voice, same type of experience.
It's the same voice, and it says, it doesn't matter if it is me who hands you this decoction. The journey you're going to set on will be inherently yours. Because it's our shadow, I think, right?
Yeah.
The shadow is already part of us. Mm-hmm. So even if we drink it, it's still our experience.
And maybe our deep-rooted choice to end it.
Yeah. And as we look into this horn, we can see that there are some strange roots lying, and they're kind of smoldering. And like there's this smoke arising from it. And we take it to our lips and we raise it, and it is as if we're drinking smoke. It's as if the smoke was a liquid and it flows into us.
It's the burning embers of the tree of life, burned down long ago.
Yeah, coming down, inverted in us. Yeah. And it's just into every pore of our body, we're filled with this black smoke.
Sprouting, ashy roots, burnt roots.
Settling in us. Oh. And we have intense visions.
Wow.
We have a completely out-of-body experience. We immediately propelled out into the dark void of the universe. And we can no longer discern the difference between our body and our surroundings.
Wow. Is this what death feels like?
Well, here it says the die is cast. So, now, depending on what kind of conditions we have, various things can happen. So let's see. Are we a hero?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Are we a killer?
No.
No. Are we an outlaw?
No.
No. Are we good-hearted?
Hard to tell.
Hard to tell. I actually don't know.
I don't know either.
Are we a saint or a blasphemer?
No, I don't think so.
Do we have the werewolf curse?
No.
No.
We have the open wound.
We have the open wound. So okay. So let's see. Yeah. So we have the open wound. So since nothing else arises from this drink, what happens is that this wound, it's like the smoke is going into our body, but we cannot contain the smoke, and it just starts leaking out of this wound in our side.
Yeah.
And even as we set down this horn, now there is just like a fire was extinguished in our bodies, and there will continuously now be like smoke arising out from a hole in the side of our body.
A smoke trail.
A trail of smoke is following us.
That's our new shadow.
Instead of our shadow, yeah, a really inverted shadow, which gives us another of those incurable wounds.
Oh man, we're taking a beating.
Did we learn anything from this? I mean, what was this? It was if it was trying to show us something.
Tatsavitra says, "Are you not a blasphemer in the eyes of the pagan villagers?" Perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
Perhaps.
I think. I think that is a good point. Because then
depends on who is the one giving this cup of dark, mysterious.
But also, what is the smoke trying to do? I think it is if the smoke is trying to fill our body, to tell us something or show us something, and it's connected to our shadow. So maybe it is it the shadow trying to get back into our body, trying to reconnect, because we've discovered the truth about the quest, or the truth about the quest, basically.
Trying to fight our knowledge, or trying to fight our sense of self.
But because we have that pagan wound, the shadow is basically just leaking out of our body. We can't connect. We can't contain it.
No. So we're in this state of ever changing. So we're fighting this demon, but since we have this hole, we can sort of keep it at bay because it can't take root.
Right, but I think it makes sense to follow Tatsavitra here and add the blasphemer penalty, which is insanity.
Naturally, I think drinking a potion, a concoction like that, going out to the far reaches of the universe while a black, ashy, burned root takes place inside your body, or grows inside your body, it would turn the most well-seasoned adventurer mad.
Yeah. Okay. So what's happening? It's not like we just go stark raving mad, but that we are starting to go insane.
Yes.
So right now, this progression is like step by step down into
slowly
dark doom.
Slowly, it just gets worse and worse.
I'm just gonna write insanity here.
Sweet insanity, yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's at this point, this seems more hopeful to go insane than to, I don't know, find that companion who needs to kill us.
No.
So we have drunk this potion, and when we find ourselves back in our bodies with this weird trail of smoke sliding up the side, the pilgrims are gone. They have continued down. Perhaps we see them as they enter the tower in the distance.
Yeah. While we were passed out in a nearby bush.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now what?
So let's see. The new challenges.
Oh, wow. Okay. So here comes more awesome artwork. And notice how the color palette here is just so hazy and smoky and...
It's like this monochrome. It's like this fog is surrounding us in this area.
Yeah, wherever we look, there is fog, right?
I think it's because we're really close to the ritual grounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the smoke from the ritual is sort of rising up, creating this fog.
And what we're seeing are these like the freaked out towers that the pilgrims went into? Because look how close we are now.
Yeah, definitely.
We've been coming closer and closer and closer.
Yeah.
And now we see how it's almost like a miracle that can even stand, right? Or is that our mental state?
It could be both. It could be the structure buckling under the evil that's contained within.
Right.
Or it could be our vision that's blurred.
And what is that smoke coming out of one of the towers? Is that the pilgrims' souls being sucked out of them and lifted into the air?
The ritual has begun.
I think it's begun. And is that what is causing this foggy haze to lie over the landscape?
Definitely. Oh, it's the smell of evaporating souls.
Yes.
Ooh.
And we're desperately trying to contain our own soul in this.
Yes. And it's already starting to leak out of our very body.
We're at the end. We need to find that tome very quickly, I think. Look here.
The procession.
Is that just more pilgrims coming?
Yes.
Through the fog from all directions. We thought it was just a few, but it's many.
They're coming from all across the land just to be evaporated.
And it looks as if it's a mountain on the left, but it may just be a giant pillar of smoke rising.
A soul plume.
Soul plume. A plume of burned souls.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. Epic.
Epic, epic, epic. And then finally, right here, our friend.
And I hope it's our friend, Death. If we could meet Death before our soul is taken from us, forever chained by the mad wizard.
And is that a child there dancing or in the middle of the road?
Dancing with a demon?
Or about to being caught by some strange demon? Because that doesn't look like a pilgrim.
No.
Are these other creatures that the souls are turning into? The smoke is taking on different shapes.
Could it be the helpers of the wizard? Like his minions?
Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. But you never know. I mean, that guy with the skull who's looking at us.
Jeden says, looks like the face of a child in the cloud of smoke.
In this one?
Or in the
other one?
Number 2, I think.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you're right. If faint.
There is a face there, it looks
like.
like.
Yeah. That's very creepy. Maybe he's conjuring up, maybe he's using the souls to conjure up some sort of being.
Yeah. Some sort of gigantic being that he's summoning into the world, and he needs all the souls in the world to create something to transcend humanity.
Wow.
A new kind of being to walk the earth.
Powerful stuff here.
Wait, this is a tough choice to choose here, I think. Because there are many ways this can go, right?
Yeah. I feel these are somewhat similar.
Yes?
Some sort of god.
Maybe.
I hope not. But I'm very intrigued by this one, because could there be help to be had over here?
I feel like this one is a little bit like what we did seen before. I mean, closer and closer to that tower, and again, it represents us going into the tower completely unprepared and basically just throwing ourselves into the hands of.
That would be the only outcome I can think of, is that we're going to be sacrificed.
So actually, this again seems to be our own path into the tower, and this here seems to be us following the pilgrims, like those two other cards we had before.
Yeah, very similar.
Whereas this one is perhaps us desperately trying to find some kind of relief.
We're desperate to find anything else than our inevitable fate that's lying right beneath our feet here.
Yeah.
So once again, I'm gonna go for the Joker card. That's where I'm
agree.
leaning to. Yeah.
I agree, because I think we had that quaff of smoke, so we have like the soul partly in our body, but now we need something to happen.
We need a miracle.
We kind of need a miracle. And should we again keep the pilgrims or the tower? Now, we kept the pilgrims last time.
Let's go 50-50 maybe and keep the towers this time.
Yeah, I agree. So if you just put that at the bottom. All right, so once again, you can see there is like some houses outside the gates of the tower.
And I'm wondering if the person in the foreground, is that us? Is that what we've become during our travels?
Oh, wow.
Deteriorated into this...
Maybe this is us.
This ghostly, white, pale figure.
I mean, so many weird things have happened to us, and...
Yeah. This is what it looks like when you have an open hole where your soul is seeping out of.
Right. And is that someone coming for us?
Oh, maybe.
Uh-oh.
It's too late now.
Too late now, guys. A strange community.
Indeed.
So we're walking through the fog, and there are these strange creatures, like weird humanoid shapes, but kind of twisted. And they seem sort of to mutter in the corners. We cannot really make out what they're saying. And we're just walking amongst them, seeing them like they're all in some act of becoming something other than they once were. It seems like they are perhaps pilgrims who are taking on different shapes. But at the same time, we can't keep out the thought that maybe it's still that drog working in us. Like just like we saw the towers leaning in strange direction, maybe our perspective of reality is changing. So we get an instinct that we need to flee.
Yeah.
We need to run. We need to get the hell out of here. We must escape. And we start running away from all this. And yes, we pass even like children laughing in the road, but they're looking at us with demonic faces and laughing with hideous, childish laughter. And we run out into the fields and into the crops, screaming with insane laughter.
Wow. Oh no. Oh. Okay.
So basically what's happening is that we've come close to the tower and we've seen how the smoke changes everything.
Yeah.
And we are on the absolute verge of insanity. I mean, it's not even clear if we're able to function anymore.
No.
And I kind of feel like this is a good place to take a break.
Yeah.
And because this could be where the story ended. But I think there may be an act 2 where we try to rid ourselves of the insanity.
Yeah,
and
interesting.
Because we've come so close to the source now. And I also feel like we need some kind of closure.
I think maybe there could be... It's interesting. I think there could be several options here. It could also be a parallel story that's worth telling.
Yes.
I mean, what
Oh, you mean to start from a different direction?
Yeah, what's happened while we were having this insane journey?
Yes.
What else was happening on the other side of the mountains?
Okay, I super like that idea. So basically what we just did was we told one person's story, and that ended in madness.
Yes.
Just running into the fog, surrounded by all these creatures, not knowing whether what he's seeing is the distortions from the drink and his soul tearing at him, and just going mad.
You know, fantasy and reality has been intertwined.
Right.
Has become intertwined, and it's not clear anymore what's real and what's not, and what's actually going on.
And what we're doing now is we're going to another village where another young, able-bodied person is being sent out by the elders to recover the tome.
Oh, wow.
And maybe we will encounter this young man again.
Yes,
or maybe not.
Wow. Okay, that's great. And this is where we sort of strike down in a new part of the world.
Well, when we left you, we were running, screaming with mad laughter into the mist. And I don't know who that guy was, but it was us for a fleeting moment.
Yeah.
And now he's out there with the others. And who knows? Maybe we'll encounter him again.
Mm-hmm. We might see him from atop a mountain somewhere.
Yeah. But now we're going to enter into a different village.
Yeah.
But the scenario is very much the same. It's a blighted village. There is only one person left in the village who has the strength, or who has been appointed at least, to have that strength and to go out into the world to seek a remedy, to find a spell that can heal the lands, or so they say.
Because let's not forget, some strange evil plot is brewing in these lands.
Oh yeah.
What exactly is going on is still unclear.
I don't know, but there's something up with that tower that is converting pilgrims into to smoke, that is taking the forms of abnormal, gigantic creatures in the sky.
Yeah.
And that are causing people in the surrounding villages to be strangely bent out of shape, unless that, of course, was just a hallucinogenic effect.
Yeah. It seems nefarious so far. Seems evil.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have expected anything less, I must say.
No. These are the dark lands.
It was never really a happy story.
No. So for, just to say, like, my impression so far is I love how dark this game is. It's extremely dark.
Yeah, it is extremely dark.
It's extremely dark.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised by that. Happily surprised.
Yeah.
It's great.
There are no compromises in this game.
No.
It's really everything we do, everything we're being prompted to say, all feeds into just a narrative of absolute doom. And also this kind of sense of being between worlds.
Yeah.
Like, there is our everyday reality in the village, and then there is some kind of new reality that's emerging. Because there was also that sense at one point that all the human souls were being consumed to create like a new, a superior, or at least a different kind of living entity to walk these lands.
And you just naturally assume that if it takes hundreds of pilgrims, like the conversion of 100 pilgrims' souls to create this apparition, it must somehow be more powerful than the 100 pilgrims combined.
Yeah, and you cannot also escape the idea that maybe we're just, bred in order to feed this next stage in our evolution.
Wow. It says, it's for sure not the Joy Pilgrim.
No.
No.
Right about that one.
The Happy Camper.
Should we try to lay out the village?
Yeah, let's do that.
Look at how friendly and nice it looks.
It looks so much different. And here there's a little bit of even some fruit growing on the trees.
Yeah, this village may be in a better shape.
Yeah.
I mean, the other village looked very primitive, very barbarian, with swords stuck around.
Yeah.
Here they don't have swords as fences. Here they have like a proper wooden fence.
And it's even painted nicely.
And it doesn't look like souls going out of those chimneys. It looks like proper smoke, like they have little wood fires.
And people are still alive to even keep their fireplace on.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe this village is in a better shape. So maybe the background of this character is not as desperate as in the other village. Now maybe we saw like a really, really grim setup, a village very close to the tower that was being blighted. Maybe now we're a little bit further away from the tower, where the plague hasn't struck as deeply as it had in the other village. But there must still be a sense, a need for us to head out. But perhaps, if there's not that much desperation, perhaps there's also a different kind of adventure. Perhaps the story that we told before is a rumor that has come to this village. it is rumored that young, healthy people are leaving villages. And perhaps this time we venture out also to find out what's going on in the land. Perhaps not just to go and more to find out than to actually have that specific job of going to find the tome and find the spell that reverts the blight.
I think this is more of a scouting mission.
Yeah.
Investigative.
Do you think we're a little more naive this time?
Well, last time we
unexperienced.
Unexperienced, yes. The last time we were pretty unexperienced already. We didn't know exactly what we were looking for. We didn't have the information from our elders. We were just like sort of pushed out of the village.
Yeah. Maybe this time it is us going to the elders saying, we want to strike out into the world.
Yeah.
We want to find out what's happening, and we want to find out if these rumors are true. They can't be true.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I think also perhaps feeling secure in our little picket-fenced town.
Yeah.
We feel like the world is for our taking. We can just go out and conquer it.
We're young, we're adventurous, we want to strike out into the world.
Yeah.
And there is that ominous backdrop, but those are just rumors.
It's just rumors. Let's see how bad can it be?
Yeah. People always tell stories.
Sounds ludicrous.
Yeah. So what we're looking at is basically, there is the village with some fruits hanging in a tree, apples maybe. It looks very peaceful.
And then it looks like that they have a stock. Oh yeah.
So there you see it. The village.
It seems peaceful, quiet, and then it looks like that they have. Are they breeding this race of monkeys?
Are they? Do you think this is kind of the livestock in the village?
This is the livestock of the village, yeah.
But there are also these people running around. Are they like herding them, or?
I think they're herding these monkey creatures.
Yeah, I mean, it does actually look a little bit ominous. Like, what is this village up to?
I think the secrets of this village are maybe deeper than we first thought. Might not be so idyllic.
Do you think that there is some kind of a protective magical barrier that has been put up around the village, and maybe those apparently sort of ripe and tasty apples hanging there are rotten to the core if you bite into them because it's all an illusion?
Yeah.
Do these villages live in illusion?
I think so. They are on, the top of the tower, and they don't see the rotting, the plague that's going to hit them soon.
Beneath the surface, right beneath the surface of their ripe, beautiful skin, there is putrescence.
Exactly. That they build their ivory tower on a swamp of pestilence. Mistaken looks suggests that the monkeys are partying.
Oh.
Could be.
Could it be sort of the annual, harvest harvest festival or something?
Yeah. Could also be that these creatures live in harmony with the rest. Or they're slaves to the.
But they seem to be just outside the village, right? Or it could be the send-off party.
Yeah. Why not?
Because it's it's that time of year. This is the time when the year renews. It is spring. Yeah. And this is also the time to seek out new experiences, new adventures.
Definitely.
This is when, brave young men and women, they,
come of age.
They come of age, they strap on their backpacks and they go forth into the world to seek adventure.
Yes.
And in this case, to go find out the rumors about.
And also, I think in this
the dark castle,
in this neck of the woods, in this settlement here, usually the young folks, they go out and they come back with a prince, or they come back with a princess.
Yes.
And so the town keeps growing and it's full of.
So is it a rite of passage we're setting out on?
Yeah.
To become a real man or a real woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Then there is this tower, and I'm not kind of sure, is that further out the village, because perhaps the village are kept inside guarded walls.
Of course, it's a guarded settlement.
It's a gated community.
Gated community, yeah, for sure. Ivory Tower, gated community.
And so are these the party? Is that happening? There's the village, then there is the party in the fields outside the village, and then there are the ramparts. And the ramparts,
only the elders have been outside. It's not usual. Character like us, we haven't ever been outside the ramparts.
No, I think you're only being sent outside the ramparts when you come of age. And today's the day we come of age.
Yeah, and that's what the party is for.
Yeah.
It's a sending away party.
So as I see it, we have some choices here. We can go to the village and bid farewell to our parents and our friends.
Yeah.
We can enjoy ourselves one last time at the party outside the village, or we can walk out through the gates into the unknown lands.
Do we say goodbye first, or do we boldly go beyond the ramparts?
Yeah, that's the question.
Because I don't want to get stuck in this town either. I want to go out for adventuring.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm also kind of afraid that we get bogged down in a party, and perhaps we just need to leave, because perhaps this is kind of a series of events. We're saying goodbye to friends and family. We're partying with the village one last time, and then we go out.
Yeah.
And this is the card then that we choose, because we leave.
Yeah. Also, we know what our parents are going to say. They're going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't go out. It's way too dangerous," and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we don't want to belabor that. I think we know what happens here, right?
Yeah.
And is there someone special that we are hoping to return to? Do we have a private quest here, which is to come back and that special person here, we want to prove ourselves and come back and make sure that they know that we are the right person for them to marry.
Could be someone who is maybe someone who belongs to a lineage where these rumors have been growing for a long time. So we have to go out and quell the rumors once and for all, to calm their mind and say, it's all a rumor. You don't have anything to fear. We can stay here. We can have a family here. Nothing's going to hurt us. And I'm going to prove it to you.
Yeah. So we're going out to prove that, to take whatever we can from the world outside, and to make sure that we can come back and say the village is safe.
Yeah, the village is safe.
And in that sense, we will be a hero, a local hero. And perhaps in that sense, we can actually win the person that right now we don't even dare look her in the eye.
Yeah. And we know that she's plagued with fear of these rumors.
Yes.
So there's only one way. We have to sort of bring back a story or proof that we can definitely say that these rumors are not true. You have nothing to worry about. And let's make a life together.
Okay, so this is our quest to come back and prove to the village that it's a peaceful world.
Nothing to fear. The ramparts are more, for the visual aesthetics.
Yeah.
Prize Crew says you guys should rewrite the text for this game. It's way better. But I think, Waclaw says agree. But don't worry, guys. This is what we do every time. It doesn't matter really what game we're playing. We never play the game,
exactly as it's written.
No. We take inspiration from the beautiful artwork. We take inspiration from the text. We take inspiration from the mechanics and all that stuff. And then, yes, we take some liberties. But that's what happens with everything we play.
And we do actually also make write-ups of all the stories that we play through, right? Yeah. So we always have a write-up that we put out on Board Game Geek after we have played.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's a good little note. If you're curious to have sort of the well-written novel format of our tales that we conjure up here, you can go to Board Game Geek and check out some of the games we played. We should actually have a link somewhere to these stories, because they are awesome.
We should put them up. But basically, if you go to any of the Board Game Geek pages for games we played, we usually at the top of the forums, because those are often games that don't have a lot of forum posts on them. So still, we'll put out links somewhere.
Yeah. So check that out. It's great read for a great nighttime read.
Yes, a little bedtime story.
And there was one other thing that I wanted to mention that I may already have forgotten.
Was it about the story or about something else?
Yeah, it was. I just wanted to say that the games we play are just a motor for us to create stories.
Yeah, and so it's we always try to find games that are inspiring, and I think in this particular case, it's very easy to see what inspires us is this awesome artwork, and that we're just trying to follow along with.
Okay,
so one thing we're not going to encounter again is that this is an interesting choice. What would we never meet again? Our home or the Spring Festival?
We hope
to meet. The thing is, can we go back to our home ever again? Because it'll never be the same, right?
No, but also we're wanting to start a home for ourselves.
And I think if we're going back to something, we're going back to the next Spring Festival.
Yes.
And that's where we're gonna declare what we've experienced.
Yes. And hopefully win over our love.
Yes.
So I think going home is not an option.
No, we have to leave.
We're leaving that behind.
We're leaving home.
Yeah.
That was the most positive looking card that we've encountered so far. We're just throwing it out.
We're discarding it immediately.
Oh, Jesus. Well, we'll put the Spring Festival at the bottom of the deck.
Yeah.
Lucky if we get to see that again. There we go. And then we leave.
We leave to beyond the ramparts.
We're going through the gate.
And I think also part of this storytelling quest that we are on, it is just slowly developed from playing all the games that we used to play. We just found out that what eventually happens is that we just start going off script and having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens here is that we come to the gate, and of course we haven't been past the gate before, and it is heavily guarded. We never perhaps really thought about that. Why are there so many guards?
Yeah.
What are they afraid of?
Yeah. And you never really talked to any of the guards because they weren't in your circle.
No.
You saw them sometimes on the street. You knew kind of who they were.
Yeah, or perhaps they're kind of people that's being dragged in from other parts of the country.
Yes.
They don't mingle.
No, they don't mingle. And they sleep in little cold sheds next to the rampart.
Yeah. But now we see there are so many of them.
Yeah.
And they're really not very keen on us leaving the gates.
Oh.
So they want us to pay. They want us to pay a goal, basically. They want something for us to leave.
We don't have anything, do we?
And let's see here. So, since we don't have any gold to pay them, right?
Yeah.
The price that we're gonna pay
Oh no, I don't like
for
this.
this is more of an emotional or psychological price. It means that all the cards that we put at the bottom of the deck as things we might encounter in the future, we will have to discard. We will have to discard all our ideas about the future, everything that's out there. We'll have to leave not our past behind, but our future.
Leaving our future behind. That's a tough one.
But that's the price of passage.
Another doomed card. Okay.
They apparently they also ask. They say another thing they're interested in is what are trophies, because they say there are wild creatures in the land beyond the walls, and they like to decorate the walls with stuffed, cut-off heads of strange creatures that live out there.
Yeah. Okay. So,
should we leave behind our future?
But I think in a way we already decided to do that when we ventured out.
I think we're just only now understanding what the price of passage is.
Yeah, we are now slowly starting to realize what that actually means. That we might not ever come back here.
No.
And if we do, everything's going to be changed.
Yeah.
Tatividra says beautiful. It is beautiful. It's a tough wake-up call, but it's also poetic at the same time.
So what we're going to do now, guys, is that we're going to take this deck, and then we're going to take all the cards that we discarded. The Spring Festival, the Wizard's Tower, the Pilgrims that are walking, the Old Lady, the Familiar in the Sky, and that's it. All these things.
Some pretty awesome, intriguing cards that we're losing here.
They're all leaving the game.
Leaving our future behind.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So, that's kind of a slogan to go out on a rite of passage journey with. So I think now we're just in the open. We have no idea what's coming towards us now.
No.
We thought that we knew where we were going. We thought that we had a plan, and already now we can't. I mean, that girl we were thinking of. It's like everything has changed already.
Everything has changed. We're realizing now that we are not only going for a small trip, we might be, traversing both time, space, and our own future.
The world is so much bigger than what we thought.
Yeah.
It is so much bigger.
Yeah. And even the rampart was bigger than we thought.
Yeah. All these people there, and all those talk about strange creatures on the other side.
Yeah.
But there's no turning back.
And that's the beauty. Sometimes it takes a hard, tough, uncomfortable decision to sort of break out of that cycle, to break out of the comfortable womb.
That's true. And I think one thing we learned from the gods, though, is that one way we can return, if we want to, is if either we have gold or we have trophies.
So don't return empty-handed.
Right. That's what the guards are saying.
Okay.
We might not want to return, but
might not.
That's the condition of returning.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now we're stepping into that world of gloom that we thought was just a rumor, but it turns out to be real.
Why is it always real?
Oh my God, and just look at what's out there. This is horrible, please.
Oh, nasty creatures.
Please, please, please. This is what is on the other side of those walls.
Creatures unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Absolutely. Let me show you here. This is he's wearing like a fool's hat.
So it seems to be some sort of undead jesters, frog-like, dog-like jesters.
And is there a jester king sitting on a throne in the back?
Oh, wow, not to be messed with.
This looks like some kind of strange cult of deranged people who've completely gone insane. And they're running around with skulls on their staffs.
The Hall of the Jester King.
Okay.
The Hall of Fools.
I mean, it looks like a community.
Is it a welcoming community?
Is it something we'd like to join? I don't know.
Nothing but new beginnings. Neither dreams nor fears are left. Dig in another fun party.
Yeah, different kind of spring festival. And
more sinister rituals.
And then there's this strange creature.
And some of his friends as well.
It's like
a beast master.
Is it a bear kind of thing in the back?
He seems to be wrangling the bear.
Yeah.
Some beast.
Is he part of the circus? Is he part of the jesters?
Oh, we stumble across a circus here.
It's like a traveling carnival?
Yeah.
And they're traveling across the wastes, perhaps?
Very frozen waste.
Is it frozen? Is this water? Is this rock?
It looks like a frozen wasteland.
Yeah. And is there like an icy lake at the top, perhaps?
Yeah.
Very difficult.
And then there is something way out in the distance.
Right.
Not sure what that is.
So basically, we're stepping into these lands.
Yeah.
And there is a traveling carnival. And that's the first thing we see. Like, this is so weird. We come out, and it's just like And these carnivals, they're often symbols of horrible plagues because it's a refuge. It's something that you try to get away from reality.
This carnival probably started when a small collective took refuge, isolated themselves from the plague. And that's where they started wearing funny costumes just to entertain each other while in isolation. And slowly it became more and more deranged, more and more depraved. And now they're walking around naked with jester's hat, hitting each other on the head with small clubs with skulls on them.
It's as if like the party never ended because the plague never ended.
Yeah.
So the party just continues. And
that's tough.
I mean, this is tough because in one way, I guess we're seeking some kind of answers to this world. But the question is whether the answers are in those communities or whether we need to, or whether they scare us somehow, whether they frighten us and we just decide to avoid them and walk into the barren lands. Though that doesn't look very welcoming either.
But at the same time, this is us rationalizing. We kind of got the idea of these guys, but the character, us as the character, we have no concept of any plagues, of what happens during a plague, how people can grow insane from being inbred in a small community. And we don't know.
And perhaps, like Stecken says, we see this basically as another party. That we left the spring party and we're going out and look out here in the wastelands.
It's a party every day.
People are partying and having fun. They look a little bit different, but we'd expect people to look different out here in the wastes.
It's a very Ridley Walker kind of world.
Yeah, Ridley Walker. That's this post-apocalyptic world where people have returned to some kind of paganism.
But I say we're probably intrigued by this festivities that's going on here.
And wouldn't we then try to go directly to the king of the carnival?
Yeah.
Because we just think like we come from the village, we still have that self-confidence.
And we're used to talking to kings and queens.
Yeah.
Those are our people.
Yeah, I mean, our parents, they're well-respected people in the village.
Yeah.
So
they have contacts all over the regalia in town.
Yeah, we're not strangers to that. So we just, a little bit,
A little bit naive, perhaps?
A little bit naive. Walk straight into the King's Carnival Hall. And, I don't know, I mean...
Ready for a great old party.
Yeah. And what is it that we're then leaving behind? Is that the landscape or is it the bear handler?
Good question.
Because perhaps this is really a question of who we approach at this party.
Yes. Okay. I think let's look at it like that. So we choose one to approach. We already chosen the regalia. We're going straight for the top. Let's talk to the king.
Yeah.
Because we feel entitled like that.
We don't need to talk with someone who handles bear.
No. That's
he's beneath us.
That's not part of our.
We're never gonna see this guy again.
No.
Off he goes. And that landscape, well, when we're done partying, I guess we might.
Of course, we have to travel on. So the landscape might be an option later.
Yeah. So let's just put that here at the bottom.
The music is very not. I'm just gonna check the music. It feels like it's very not.
Not very loud.
That's nice.
Okay.
It's nice. A little bit of Dungeons. We moved on from the soundtrack, by the way.
Yeah, we're listening to our own Dungeon synth list now.
Yeah.
So, guys, are you ready to party?
The whole of the freak show.
The Jester King.
Jester King, yeah.
What is this card called? It's called the Court of the Jester King. So we're on the money here.
There you go.
So we come into this, it's like a ruined building, but it's decorated as if it was a castle, except like all the statues are broken and all the banners that are hanging from the walls are tattered, but everyone is acting as if they were in pristine condition. as if this place was clean and sober and perfect.
Perhaps they didn't notice the slow deterioration of their own halls.
No, it's just everything is decay, but they live in this sort of secluded mental state of just...
Probably filthy and...
Yeah, and perhaps like 30 years ago when the party started, it looked different. But things have deteriorated.
And Yetten said, we, as well as probably in the halls of the Jester King, we're listening to some good organ party tunes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So, first of all, we see that they are acting crazily and they're, brandishing sharp knives and swords and...
So it's an adult party.
It's a very adult party. And we do have this chance to just basically withdraw and leave the court.
Okay.
Are we dismayed by this?
I think we're still, have our let's give it a go hat on.
Yeah.
We have never been exposed to any hardship or no one has ever told us no. No one has ever threatened us. No one has ever, spat at us in the street or, pushed us out of anywhere.
Right.
So we're used to just walking straight up and, being
So we're walking in...
center of attention.
We're walking in through this bunch of jesters partying, and we quickly notice that they aren't very funny. They're kind of...
Maybe it's the knives?
Yeah, they're kind of scary with those knives that they're brandishing. But they invite us to their banquet.
Oh, nonetheless.
But with a sort of a snigger.
Do we pick up on that?
I don't think... Maybe a little bit like subconsciously, but I don't think... I think
it's
we
a little bit odd.
Yeah, it's like, why do they snicker? Or what is this? Those must be... we've heard about that strange customs in foreign lands.
Yeah.
It must be something like that.
Yeah.
There's probably a good reason for that. So we're sat down to this banquet, and they serve us food that is completely rotten. They put bowls in front of us with insects crawling out of those eggs that they boiled months ago, and the salad is all black and slimy. And
we've never seen the plant that the salad comes from.
No.
Not to mention the egg. what creature laid this egg ever?
We have very little idea.
Yeah.
And there's sort of strips of flesh that is greenish, and they're like white little maggoty things crawling inside it.
I'm not sure I like this.
They give us a knife and a fork and say, "Eat up. Welcome to our party."
Oh no.
And
when in Rome.
When in Rome. So basically, as they start coming in upon us, and we are surrounded by them, and they're all starting to bang their...
They're egging us on.
Yeah. They're surrounding us.
Eat.
And they're banging their plates with their forks. Eat. And they're serving us. And we're looking at this, and we stick our fork into some of this horrible food, and there's this squishy sound, and there is just this vapor that just smells like decay in our nose.
Oh.
And suddenly we can't have it anymore.
No, obviously not. It's too much.
It's simply too much. And we lash out.
Okay.
We simply just lash out.
Yeah.
The pressure is building. It's too much.
Yeah.
We weren't ready for this. So we end up in a mad fight across the table. They jump us, and we try to slash them with forks and knives. And
I would also say it's such an immature reaction from us. We could have appeased the situation and say, "Hey, sorry, I'm not so hungry. It looks great. It looks very appetizing, but I just ate, before I arrived." We could have solved this so much more diplomatically.
Yeah, because what they were doing is they wanted us to start the fight, right?
Yeah.
They were just taunting us.
They knew that we had to react.
And then we broke, and they're enjoying that we're freaking out like this.
We should have just taken a few bites and just, sucked it up.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that, so.
So, and since we're not really very trained in fighting, I mean,
No.
yeah, we've had a bit of mock fighting with people in the village.
Sure, and we had this sort of like what do you call it? When you do like a decorative fencing tournament just for show, show tournament.
We know how to hold, the rapier in the right angle.
Exactly, and do the poses so it looks menacing. But we haven't really fought anyone.
And clearly, that is not very helpful. We now learn. So they severely beat us up, and they stick us with knives and forks, and someone tries to take one of those big spits that you roast animals on, and they drive it through our side, and we're basically being handled like a piece of meat. They're sticking into us, they're mock eating at us, they're putting their teeth, burying them into our arms, and as we're lying there almost like torn to pieces, bleeding profusely, suddenly the Jester Kings come up and says, "Stop!" And everyone steps back, and we're lying here sort of across the table, rotten food spread everywhere, and with like knives and forks stuck into our body, bleeding profusely, concussed, confused, afraid, shivering.
And the juices from the flesh has intertwined with the blood of our wounds. Can't tell what is what anymore.
No, it's just all part of the one big same thing. And suddenly the Jester comes up to us, and he begs us for mercy.
Wow.
I'm so sorry of my impolite companions would treat you in this way.
This is another game? It starts now.
It doesn't sound too sincere, right? So we can now choose if we want to accept his apology.
It doesn't sound so sincere. And is it just leading
He's on
us...
his knees now. He's begging us.
But
please.
But it's a play. He's play begging. It is just for show. That's what these characters do all day. They put on, they start a drama, and then they play it out.
I think that's absolutely right. The question is, how do we perceive it here?
We have what I'm saying here is looking outside in.
Yeah. That's
speaking from us, who is only a teenager. We have no experience of the outside world. We don't know anything about hardship. We don't know anything about any other culture than our own.
Perhaps we don't even really know about, lying and pretense. No. Perhaps we're so sheltered that when he comes and begs for mercy, we think that now we can be chivalrous and give him mercy.
Because people may have lied to us before, but we've never caught on.
No.
We never when we met a beggar on the street and say, "Lovely hat, my liege," we of course believed him.
Yeah. Our family was so venerated. We had, all these people come up and these sycophants that were surrounding our family, and we just thought it was for real.
Yeah. So we've never worn an ugly hat in a day of our lives.
We are a sheltered prince.
Yes.
Come out into not just the real world, but the real doomed world.
But the mad world. So we're, of course, saying, okay, everyone makes mistakes. Surely the king has better manners than his subordinates.
Yes. So we try to take the high ground, but we're severely beaten up. So we kind of, stagger to our feet.
So removing the spit from our side. Okay, well, it's pretty rough, but if you say so.
It's a rough joke.
It's a pretty rough joke.
So, and what we get from accepting his apology is that we're degraded.
Oh my God, once more.
So we get degradation. So that basically means that I think...
They just laugh at us for playing along. Because we're playing along, they all burst out laughing.
Yeah, and I think... I'm just going to write degradation here, because I think that one of the points is that we set out to prove ourselves and to come back with our head held high. But I think this degradation is something that we experience for the first time. We are ashamed. We are humiliated.
And we've never experienced that before.
And we now know that we cannot return.
No, it's too shameful.
It's simply too shameful. We have to go and find a new direction or purpose in life.
And that's what happens when you venture out to seek your fortune. you may stumble across a fortune that's not exactly what you had in mind.
Yeah.
It might not be pretty.
Yeah. So
Shame, Pilgrim. Oh, the unfortunate one.
we are the Shame Pilgrim.
The Shame Pilgrim. The story of the Shame Pilgrim.
But there is a shimmer of light in all of this.
Okay.
As we walk out with our head held low in shame from the Jester's Hall, and everyone's laughing behind our back, we feel...
Throwing rotten food after us as we leave.
Yeah, we have like taking all these like old banana leaves off our head, and like we just like wine running down our faces.
And if the rusty spit didn't cause an infection, all the food stuck, all the moldy food stuck in our wounds surely will.
It's probably not going to work as a disinfectant, I'm sure. But as we walk out, we feel like a small, a tiny, soft hand lock into ours.
Wow.
And we're sort of pulled to the side as we leave this decaying ruin where the party was held. And there's a woman there. And she tells about how horrible they've all been acting, and how she has been here, she's been caught here for years, and she's just never been able to find the courage to leave. But she felt that just us standing up to them in our own way, even though we accepted the apology and were humiliated.
But we came with a whole new approach to the situation. She's never seen anyone this naive or this open-minded.
Look, she has never seen someone acting chivalrous and acting with such leniency towards other people. She's used to people just kicking down, but we were actually trying to take the high ground.
Yeah.
So we have a companion.
Wow.
She leaves with us.
So we managed actually to bring her along.
Yes, she's called Claire.
Yeah.
And she walks with us, and she removes the rotten food from our wounds.
How romantic and smelly.
And she also slides into our pocket 7 gold coins.
What a beneficiary we've met here. It's amazing.
You can take 7. Well, they used to be gold coins. They're kind of dull now.
This is gold in the Doom lands.
Yes.
4, 5, 6.
Perhaps you can
7.
show them to the camera.
7 gold
This
coins.
is the gold we have now.
In this world, gold rusts.
Yeah.
And in more ways than one. Let's see.
So we have our companion Claire, and we have 7 gold counts. We have also been humiliated, and all our ideas of what we came from, what we were, has been destroyed. The illusion of our past life is gone.
It's a brood awakening.
And we are also heavily wounded.
Yes. And smelly.
Very.
And we have Jedermann für sich und Gott gegen alles. Caspar Hauser reference.
Yeah.
Every man for himself and God against all.
Yeah. That's pretty much the vibe we're getting here.
That's the vibe we're getting here. Losing innocence. Yeah, we've come a long way. We've only been gone for a day or two, and we have experienced a lot. We've learned a lot.
We've lost our innocence. I think that's a fair way to put it.
That's for sure.
But we have also found a friend.
Yes.
We've found a friend in this world.
Maybe it was worth it.
Yeah, I think so. And interestingly, or positively, this companion is not an assassin. We hope.
Not yet, anyway.
So I'm a little bit curious. I mean, she has experienced the world. We come from completely different worlds. Perhaps this is a love story in the making.
Yeah.
Because suddenly we also see, looking back at the village, could we really be with someone as shallow as those people in our village? People who didn't know the real world and who thought that their little village life was everything? Have we burst out of the bubble?
I don't think, since we haven't had, the only positive reinforcement we've had since we left the village was the affection and the benevolence of this young woman that we met. But I think it's too soon to say that we've already
Given up.
giving up hope or giving up, because I think we're still longing for home, because that's actually the only place that we know to be safe.
But perhaps we now have this plan to, because again, we're also chivalrous, that we want to bring Claire, our newfound companion, home to the village. We want to save her, take her back.
Just like we've seen so many others do before us. Bring back a princess.
And what do we have now? We have gold
That's true.
to take back to the guards. We don't have a trophy.
No.
And we don't have, I don't know if we feel that 7 gold pieces and a companion is enough to return with, because we haven't, I mean, we've experienced the world outside is horrible.
It's horrible.
It's just horrible.
Already we just know that this is not for us.
No.
We don't like it.
But how do you shelter yourself? Perhaps the ramparts was a good idea.
The ramparts starts to make sense now.
Yeah.
And the brash nature of the guards started also to make sense.
So perhaps we should look at the next card and see which way we're headed.
Yeah, and should we consider going back?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That let's look at the cards and see what
options are there. Yeah.
Gonna pull them out here. Oh my goodness.
Icy Kingdoms. There is a... okay, this is...
Is this the tower from the first story? Is this the wizard's tower?
Oh yeah, it must be.
With a bit of smoke coming out of it?
Yeah, it's surrounded by this soul-like fog.
And of course, we don't know anything about the wizard's tower.
No, we haven't even gotten that far in our...
We might even think of it as a possible refuge to mend our wounds and find shelter for Claire.
Yeah.
It's just a thought. So that's further out.
Yes.
Then there's this.
Maybe this speaks of... maybe this is a port town where we maybe can take a boat even further.
Oh, do you see a town here?
No, I see more of like could be a lighthouse or a small ferry station or something.
Ah, yeah, okay, there is something, but it looks kind of ruined, doesn't it?
It's hard to tell from this distance.
But everything in this world is broken outside our little hamlet.
Yeah. Hard to tell.
Okay. And then a church.
A church. And I wonder if this church...
Have we ever known religion in our village? Do you think there is a...
Is there a part of us that has...
So is this something that we associate with safety and refuge?
Yes, I think so, because the whole idea of the class system that we came out of was loosely based on religion.
Yeah. Yeah, because we also discovered in the first part of our story that religion is a thing. I mean, there is some form of Christianity and there is various forms of pagan beliefs. And so maybe...
And so our arrogance is fueled by this vague notion that we're the chosen one, or our family, or our clan, or our hamlet is the chosen one.
Yeah. So the question is, what do we do as we walk hand in hand across the barren wasteland with this young woman that we barely know, but has apparently, put herself under our protection, but we're not really in a state to protect her because we're really wounded. We're walking with a crutch under our...
Could be we need the refuges of the church, because it's the only thing we know in these lands.
Yeah, because the other thing would be the refuge of the tower, but that is not something that we associate with anything, right?
No. We know about the rumors of the tower. That's part of our initial...
that was those rumors that reached the village.
Yes. A happy life with Claire. Yeah, maybe that's what we kind of need to investigate here. Is that possible?
But perhaps a possibility could be to go to the church, rest up, mend our wounds, and perhaps we've learned enough for a lifetime.
Oh.
And that's enough to come back
could also be that we want to sort of investigate is if Claire wants to join us at church, do we even want to? Would we jump the gun and say we could also just get married and I could take you back to town?
Ooh.
It's forthcoming, but we don't know any better.
Ooh. So it would, of course, be something to come back a married man.
Yeah. But I think we're also eager to prove ourselves. We're eager to sort of accomplish our mission, even though we haven't been out more than a few weeks, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I think we already feel that we've perhaps already accomplished what we should, and we've saved this woman from this horrible world. And look, here is a place of civilization in the wastes, a refuge. And now we need to seal the bond so we can return to the hamlet, because we're telling Claire all about how wonderful this community is and the wonderful parties we have and the music that they play in the evenings.
And the bountiful fruits that are hanging on the trees and that's not rotten.
No. Only if you bite into them too deeply.
Too deeply. And we don't even know what Claire is going to say to all this.
No.
This is all in our own mind.
I like this.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a shotgun wedding with Claire. Just spring it on her, see if she'll accept, and just so we can sort of close the chapter and return home a little bit with our tail in between our legs, but let's just get home.
Yeah, I like this.
Before anything worse happens.
I think there may be a stage between the church and home. So we'll see what happens there.
We'll see what happens there. Yeah.
So what do we want to throw out? The Wizard's Tower or the...
I like to keep the Wizard Tower alive, just because it relates to the other story.
I totally agree. I think we should get rid of this one.
Yeah. The ferry station, perhaps.
Yeah, whatever it was. And we'll put this one here. And yeah, guys, this is where we're going to get married. And Claire doesn't even know it, but she'll be pleasantly surprised.
I'm sure. She loves us, I'm sure. And we don't know any better. This is the first affectionate contact we've had since our grandmother died.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so this is a church. It's a cathedral. It's also a well-functioning monastery. There are many people living here, people of the faith. And let's see here. Yes, and they want to take us in and shelter us from the outside. And they are so happy that Claire and we are willing to, tie the knot. But they do think that we both need, and Claire perhaps especially, a sound education in Christian principles before we marry. So they offer us to stay and, mend our wounds and learn about the church, about right and wrong, about God and the devil. And we can choose here. I mean, we can say that we're not interested. We just want to get married and get on with it. And try to convince the priest of that, or we can take him up on the offer and decide to stay.
Yeah. Could be good for our relationship with Claire, just to have that as like a bonding experience, perhaps in the holy name.
I also feel that since we are still seriously ill after, I mean, we have.
Yeah, we are wounded. Let's not forget.
We're very wounded. We're walking with a limp and. Our bandages, our wounds are infected, and I mean, we would also like to perhaps look just slightly better at our own wedding.
Yeah, we don't want to come limping back with an infection.
No.
That's not really conquering the world.
No. So perhaps, though we would prefer to just have a wedding right off the bat, considering the circumstances, we accept the offer?
Yeah, let's accept the offer.
Okay.
We also, I think in our mind, it's like it doesn't look good if we return to the village after just 3 weeks out in the world. Let's just hang out here. It's safe. It's quiet. There's food every morning and evening. Why not just wait it out, and I can return in a few weeks, and it looks like that I've been out for much longer time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're a little bit. It's like we have found a little bit of safety, so we're clinging on to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they welcome us in, and
a romantic bonding experience at a monastery. Yes, one of those. The classic.
So yeah, they invite us in. They put us in a room. They give us a meal. They get someone to come up and wash our wounds.
Yeah.
We do get separate rooms from Claire.
That's unfortunate, but
it's actually they're in separate wings. Actually, the monks and the nuns are not allowed to interact.
Okay, it's that whole story.
Yeah. And already on the first night, the abbot, he comes to our room and says, "Oh, we're so grateful that you took us up on the offer. So it's only 5 gold pieces for us to give you a sound education."
But I thought it was this was gratitude and benevolence on part of the Christian faith.
Well, but benevolence doesn't come free. It's
it doesn't.
it doesn't.
Shit.
In the next life, in heaven, where you're going, there's no need of gold. But down here, while you're still on the earth, that is the only way that we can sustain our monastery and help people like you and
I see.
Teach you. And I promise you, one day when you have learned from here, you yourself can acquire gold pieces.
You will be teaching others in the way of the Lord.
And we can sort of hear the gold pieces like the juggling in the deep pockets of the abbot.
His nervous tick is sort of counting his money inside his pocket. So you too can become a holy man and teach others in the way of the Lord. And you yourself can administer the gold.
Yeah. So we
and also for us, 7 pieces of gold is nothing. We used to...
No, it was only 5. We have 7.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So we even have cash to spare.
Yeah.
So we still have enough to get back into the village.
And we never really considered money as a thing that you have to worry about. We usually just spend it.
Yeah.
So
what is 5 gold pieces? We are a little bit surprised. But then again, it's a monastery in the wild.
But I also like the ego is also telling the story. Like the longer I can hang out in safety, the better it's going to look when I return to the village, because they're going to be thinking I'm out conquering dragons and leading armies and so on and so forth. So the longer I stay out, while safe, of course, keeping safe, the better a story I can tell when I get back.
Plus, we're going to get all this awesome knowledge. We're going to come back and we will be revered as a wise man because we have learned.
And it gives us more time to court Claire.
Also that, and maybe impress her even more with our astute knowledge of the finest points of theological principle.
That should be on everyone's dating profile. So how much is it? Well, you had me at the finer teaching of Christ.
That's only 5 gold coins, my friend.
It's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. So now we get the so-called scholar distinction.
Ooh,
there you go.
Already distinguished.
Absolutely. I'm just gonna write that somewhere. Scholar.
What else did you write? Ridiculed or
that we're degraded
and astute knowledge of Christ.
I think this is building our confidence back to some extent, right?
Yeah.
And perhaps the more times that we tell the story about what happened at the Jester Court, the story seems to change every time we tell it.
Yeah, it seems that now the story has sort of changed, that we immediately won the favor of the king. Mm-hmm. He begged at our feet. Mm-hmm. He begged us to stay for dinner.
Yes. And he gave us his daughter.
Yes.
So we tried to impress upon Claire that maybe she's confused about how she really got to that Jester Court.
Don't talk about how we met. Don't mention to the bishop how we met.
Do we? There's something in chat here.
The wonderful Ponzi monastery. Yes, one of those. Exactly. It's a pyramid monastery.
Monastic ascetics are probably really not weird and dangerous. No, I'm sure. So
No.
yeah, okay, awesome. So we are actually we're getting an education.
Yeah, nice.
Our moons are we have scars, which is also kind of cool.
Pretty
we
cool.
have that we don't say that it was a roast spit that skewered our sides.
No.
It was like a lance from a brave knight, probably.
Exactly. We had to fight for Claire's honor.
Yeah, we defended her, and we keep impressing these stories on Claire. Into slowly that she can tell them the way that we tell them.
Yeah.
And maybe Claire she probably doesn't really care too much because she actually really just wants to be somewhere that's safe. Yeah. So that's like a very small concession for her to make.
And she's used to what do you call it? Men with low self-esteem that needs to be lifted up a little bit.
Yes, yes.
She's seen it before.
She's been at the Jester Court, King's Court, right?
Yes.
I think she's tried all that.
Yeah.
So we're at an interesting turning point here, where I feel that we're ready to return to the village.
Yeah.
And it's not that far.
It's not that far.
It's just like a few days of travel.
Yeah.
And I think, apart from the Jester King that we already overcome in our own mind, what more dangers could lurk out there that...
No, we can see the distant smoke plumes from our hamlet.
Yeah.
So we already know that it's down that way. It's down south.
And there's also that strange black tower with smoke rising out of the top in the other direction. But
for another day.
For another day. You can't do everything at once, right? And we'll also have sons and daughters that need to have their own adventures. So we cannot experience everything for anyone.
Even Christ didn't heal all the sick.
No. And apparently only also at very high cost. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's only right. And I think we've been away for an appropriate amount of time. 6 months. Yes. It's appropriate.
We've been away for 6 months.
Appropriate for an adventure.
Yeah, I think so. That's a fitting. And we've somehow managed to turn that extremely humiliating experience into something positive.
I think we're already starting to convince ourselves that it didn't happen. We've told the story so many times to any monk who would listen.
Yeah.
That we're starting to reshape our memories.
Yeah. And
there is a little nugget of degradation deep inside, but we're keeping it really
and most of the monks didn't speak back because we never understood that they were bound by vows of silence. So we just talked to them, and they always tried to walk sort of down the corridor, but they couldn't speak back to us. Yeah, they just seemed to, so interesting.
But they're so busy, these monks.
Yeah, they're so busy. But when you really have them in a corner, they listen very attentively.
Yes.
Though they don't ask a lot of questions.
And rarely they interrupt.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy.
All right. Let's leave for the village.
Yes.
Uh-oh, is the Jester King back?
Oh, no. We're not ready for the Jester King.
We have 2 gold coins.
Is that enough to get through?
And we're now a scholar, a certified scholar. Okay, so let's see here. Here is something that looks like someone benighted with a sword or a staff.
Is this our chance to come back?
But they're also kind of ghost-like. I mean, it's almost like they're a mirage or something. I'm not sure. Or is it some mock ritual?
It could also be an execution.
It could also be. But might we be the kind of guy who mistakes an execution for a knighthood?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Then there is
the Jester King.
Something grisly. This is the Jester King out looking for Claire.
Yeah.
And
you've stolen from me.
You've stolen. He is not he's in a foul mood.
Yeah. Jeden says, looks more like someone begging for his poor life. Yes, exactly. Like an execution scene.
Yeah.
But I think we don't see it like that.
We see someone being knighted, so someone has the ability to knight people.
Yeah.
Why are we not there?
Yes. We're sort of charmed by the idea that we would be knighted.
This is kind of...
Even though we don't deserve it at all.
This is turning into sort of an sort of Arthurian tale
Yes.
of a knight that goes out in and seeks adventure and is not fully aware of how the world actually works.
No.
Then the final possibility here is, are those the ramparts?
Those are the ramparts, and
they're guarded.
And that's us returning gloriously on a steed.
On a white horse.
Yeah. Kind of glorious.
Okay, so...
We found love, now we want everything. Exactly. We are not so easily pleased. Yeah, greed. We're getting greedy.
We're getting greedy.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, this is interesting because I think there are many interesting opportunities here. I think, for example, this Jester King card could be something saying, can we escape this card? Or do we need to have a showdown?
Do we need to have a showdown to prove not only to ourselves that we can actually handle the Jester King? He is our antagonist. He's the only foe we met, and he degraded us. He ridiculed us.
Yeah, and the thing is also, I mean, this is also destiny. These are the three things that occurs on the way home, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, what can we avoid? It's just
it could also
here.
be. There's also a part of me wants to go through the
all three cards,
the gauntlet. So if we do this,
yeah.
If we defeat,
yeah,
the Jester King,
yeah.
In our mind, we will be knighted as the new Jester King, and we can return glorious on our white steed with Claire riding on the back of our saddle.
Ooh, I like that.
Because in the 4 months or 5 months in the monastery, we have grown full of ourselves.
Yeah.
In our mind, the Jester King is a fool, basically.
But perhaps,
we can take him
we're even riding up to him.
Yeah.
Because we need to slight him.
Yeah.
And we also need to make that story true, that we had the upper hand.
We need to bring back the head of the Jester King.
Oh, as the trophy.
Yeah.
So we can be knighted and return glorious.
Yeah. Maybe it's even like this. Once we return, we will surely be knighted.
This is the narrative that we're trying to play out.
Yeah, in our head, in our, blown out fantasies.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
Yeah, we run the
gauntlet.
gauntlet.
Try to go through all three?
Yeah, this is true Arthurian legend style.
All right. Here comes. Okay, so we go back to the Jester King. And
I like that he's just waiting. Probably the Jester King has forgotten all about us. He doesn't even care. And it's only in our mind that it's this huge rivalry.
Right. So we come into him, and he is in the middle of a terrible, terrible ritual.
Oh no.
So his court jesters are lying slaughtered across the banquet hall. And it looks as if they carved their own stomachs open, and all the rotten food is pouring out from their innards.
Oh no. Like, just when you thought it couldn't get worse in the Jester Court.
And he stands there, just laughing. And he sends out these bursts of psychic energy that enters into our mind. And like it's like we're walking, against a psychic wall or something as we approach. And we're almost caught.
Like a psychic storm.
A psychic storm. And we're walking against it like step by step by step. And it's so hard. And we see already Claire being sort of thrown backwards from us. So we know, like, we alone have to walk up to the Jester King.
Damn.
So, okay. So here is all sorts of horrible things. So what we need to find out is what is the primary emotion that we carry as we walk towards him. And we have some choices here. We can feel intense fatigue. making sense because we're walking against it.
Yeah.
We can also feel a haughty, arrogant disgust for this whole mess.
Definitely.
We can also feel intense fear,
Yeah.
or we can feel our mind beginning to flay as if we cannot hold together our thoughts.
All of those things.
And yeah, that's it. So it's fatigue, disgust, fear, and a mind going to pieces.
I like that it's arrogant disgust.
Yeah.
But I think all of those things.
You feel that all of those things happen to us.
Yes.
Okay. So should we find out what happens then?
Yes.
Okay.
It's only right because we're feeble mind. We're arrogant. We're obviously afraid because we're also a coward. Mm-hmm. That has embellished the idea that we could even defeat the Jester King at all.
Yeah. Without revealing too much, look at the cards that are here and think of it as something that you think intensely about as you walk towards the Jester King, sure of his downfall.
Yes.
As we start walking towards him through the psychic storm that's blowing against us, our legs turn rotten like the fruit around us and fall off.
Ooh.
And we sit like a torso on the banquet floor looking at him with psychic energy flaying everything.
No.
And we just see shreds of rotten meat falling off from our bones, blowing past down. Where Claire, she's standing screaming at the other end of the hall.
No.
As we try to speak out, our tongue falls out of our mouth. And thousands of tiny little spiders crawl out of our mouth and all over our body until we look like a living anthill completely covered in spiders, as if our entire body is alive with spiders. And our tongue just lies on the floor, wiggling with the last few words that we're trying to say. We in fear, we lift our hands to our faces and we gouge out our own eyes. We take our eyes in our own hand and we crush them for fear of what we're seeing until the world goes dark around us and our mind flee into a tiny bit of peace and safety from the little insanity that we feel before our body collapses to the floor.
In a rotten pool.
In a rotten pool of spiders and rot and decay and gouged out eyes. And perhaps the last thing that happens as we fall to the ground is the turning of the psychic storm and Claire slowly being drawn back into the room. No. Or is she escaping to the village? She's fighting against the storm. He's trying to get her back, but can she free herself of that storm for the love or the conviction she feels towards us and run towards the village and tell that tale? Because otherwise there will be no one to tell our tale.
I feel that Claire is a much stronger individual than we are, in both mind and body probably, but especially in the mind. Mm-hmm. She can withstand psychic storms. Perhaps not if she was in the center of it, but she's standing on the precipice of the psychic storm. She's been watching this all go down, slowly walking backwards in fear. So I think she's ready to turn and run. She can still make it.
She can still make it. So the sorcerer reaches out, but Claire has been empowered and she gets free of that storm and she runs right up to the gates.
Yeah.
Perhaps she steals a horse from the jesters and just ride that horse through the night.
A sickly, way too skinny, rotting horse.
Yeah. With sort of the bones sticking out of the joints. And it comes up, and what you see there on the cart
as it rides
is the final prancing before it collapses under her weight and lies dead outside the gate.
Gideon says, 5 gold pieces well spent learning about Christ at this point. That's what you get, people.
Well, at least maybe we died with the image of Christ in our mind.
Well, we died with no images since we crushed
our own eyes.
In fear and insanity.
But I think Claire returns to the village.
This is a scene of escape. She arrives at the gates of the rampart. The guards are bewildered. What's this coming towards us? A woman in distress? What do? We never seen that before.
But she cries out the name of us,
yes.
And they know to open the gate.
Yeah.
And she runs in, and she tells that story that we have impressed upon her so many times, a story of chivalry, adventure, bravery, good fortune, high spirits, and deep insights into the theological mysteries of the Christ.
Yes.
And post-mortem, posthumously it's called, we are perhaps knighted, and someone else, a younger brother or someone, is knighted in our stead.
In our burial ritual.
Yeah.
Because the whole city is now in mourning. They instantly, because they hold us so dearly in their hearts, and because our family was one of the higher up families in town. So when they hear the story from Claire that their beloved son has endured all this hardship, and he was gallantly trying to rescue her from this evil demonic force, and he fought to the death like a brave knight would, and like they would only assume that their son would.
Yes.
And so of course they believe, they eat her story, and they perform this knighting ritual at his burial.
So what we have now is basically that, despite our misadventure, we have enforced the story of our own bravery and of the the safety of the village, that the village is the right place, and there are evils that lurk out there, but they can be defeated.
And our parents are reinforcing the idea that we shouldn't have left. We should never have left the hamlet. We have everything we need here. And also, I think Claire, when she comes back, she also knows that if she tells the right story, they might just take her in and keep her safe.
Yes, but she may be the serpent in the garden of evil because she has true knowledge.
Yes.
She knows what the world is outside.
Yes.
And
she knows how to lie. She knows how to manipulate. And she knows how to play, the different classes in town out against each other.
Yes. So I think that concludes our chapter.
Yeah.
And I think we have the village somehow survived, but I think that a bit of that knowledge of the world has sort of been planted, and I think that seed will sprout in a way that's going to blight this village.
There is now a snake in the grass.
There is a snake in the Garden of Eden, and there is no Christ.
So, there you have it. Oh my God. So,
are we going to do a final chapter?
Yeah.
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 I think we are. The third and final act.
In the triptychon of the Doom Deeper.
Of course, we can't promise a big, beautiful, epic showdown, but we'll see what this game allows us to do. So, in the first 2 stories, we had a young man who was sent out to find the tome that could end the blight that ravages the world, only to discover that he was part of a plot. He was being manipulated by the evil sorcerer. And he went mad with that realization in his journey. And then
plot.
And then we had the other story of another young man who grew up in a sheltered community and went out into the world to seek adventure, and
his arrogance got the best of him.
Yes, he had a horrible end, but he did manage to save Claire from the Jester King, and she went back to that village with the knowledge of the outside world. So this time, we're gonna start elsewhere.
Yes. Waclaw says, your stories are awesome, guys. Nice to see Doom Pilgrim with your own flavor added. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. But stick around because we have one last story to tell, I think.
We have one last story to tell. This is the story of Mary.
Yes.
And Mary is one of those who have been enslaved by the evil sorcerer and who has gone to the Tower of Doom at the center of the world, where the evil sorcerer is trying to suck out the souls of the people and conjure up some new crazy entity and bring that entity into the world. But Mary, she is a woman of faith. And her faith is so strong that when she's in the tower, she manages to break free from the psychic hold of the sorcerer, just for a wee moment. But that is enough for her to escape crawl through a window in the tower and fall down to the ground and run into the wasteland.
Yeah.
Determined to tell the world what is going on, that all these young people who are being sent out to save the world are in fact being transformed into energy for this sorcerer's mad ritual.
Yeah. She's basically running to seek help. Someone has to know about the plot to rid the lands of all living souls.
Yes, to end humanity and turn humanity into something even more devious. I mean, humanity is pretty devious in itself.
Could it get any worse?
Apparently it can.
Apparently it can. There's one step further. You won't believe it.
So as Mary, she runs across the barren waste away from the tower. Let's see what she might encounter on her path.
Yes. Ooh, a dark figure.
Ooh.
So as we escape the tower, this is what we see. These are our options.
Yes. So, looking at this, is that the tower that we're running away from, or is it something we're running towards?
Could also be if we keep running, this is the distance we will have to the tower.
Yeah, okay. This is us looking back over our shoulder.
Yeah, so this is if we just keep running, just don't look back until we reach the far mountains.
And then stop and look.
Yeah.
And this is how far we got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But we look back and we're gonna see that. But there is also a passage that leads through the past that we need to get through in order to get back to the village, perhaps. And that could be this one.
And this secret passageway that we only know because we know the area. We know kind of the surrounding area. And I think this one might help us to evade some of the henchmen that the sorcerer has inevitably already called out to find us.
But there is a figure standing at the end of this ledge.
Yeah.
And is it a friendly figure or not?
We don't know.
We actually don't know.
Is it someone who is willing to help us further escape the clutches of the evil sorcerer?
Maybe. And then there is something that appears to be, no matter how far we run, there is this figure that is always right behind us somehow. We see this figure everywhere we look, right?
We already know that the sorcerer has eyes everywhere.
Yes.
So this could be one of his instances, one of his avatars.
Yeah. It could also be it could also be the shadow that broke free from the person in our first story.
Ooh.
That is roaming these lands.
Ooh, and whispering evil premonitions.
Looking for this body that it used to belong to that has now gone insane.
Wow.
And is also running around the mists.
Wow. Okay, I think so.
So, what do? Do we run as far as we can? Do we try to take the shortcut?
The secret passage?
With that character at the end that we don't know whether
Usually when I make use of secret passages, I don't like other people to be there. I like them to be, secret.
To me, it also looks like a guardian of sorts.
Yeah.
It doesn't look, I mean, why
It looks like confrontation.
Why would someone stand there to help us? It's rather someone who's blocking our path.
And also I will expect the worst from this evil wizard.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if he's already had guards placed around the most obvious secret getaway routes.
And clearly looking at the central card with this huge landscape, we're really not able to find any of the villages that we're looking for.
No.
You see all these bits and pieces of burned out, decaying villages on the slopes.
Yeah.
And every village that we run through is burned down, blighted.
Yeah.
It's empty, or there's just rotting corpses lying in the streets and the houses.
Yeah, and that's not what we're trying to find. We're trying to find maybe some elders, maybe someone who is in charge that we can reveal the secret abomination that's going on in the wizard towers.
Yes, but we also know that the elders are controlled to some extent by the sorcerer.
Yeah.
So perhaps we need to seek the advice. I mean, as we're running away, there is like this shadow, like this two-dimensional shadow that's projected onto the walls and that seems to be moving, but it's impossible to see from where that shadow is cast.
Yeah.
It does not have a body that it belongs to.
Yeah.
So, as frightening as it is,
are you saying we have to face the shadow?
I kind of feel like it, because it's just following us. It's not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And this, when we have become unstuck from the tower.
Yeah.
And this looks like something or someone who has also become unstuck.
And also, if it were to be the wizard's all-seeing eye...
We of course don't know.
No, but I also think it's too soon, because the reason why we were able to get away was because the wizard was unraveled in his experiments and in his ritual. So he might not have realized that we're even gone. So I think we have a few moments before he realizes.
Right.
So maybe we should intercept the shadow.
Should we turn towards the shadow?
Yeah.
And as we turn towards the shadow, our own shadow falls onto the shadow.
Wow.
And there is a meeting of shadows on the mountain wall.
Wow. A merging of shadows.
Yes.
I like it.
And what is it that we leave behind? The secret passageway?
Yeah.
We're not going to go down that route.
No. It's too obvious.
Yeah, we're throwing it out. And yeah, who knows? We bury the tower or the landscape here, like this.
Which we hopefully will get that far.
Hopefully we'll get that far. Hopefully we'll find that village where we can tell someone something. So this is the shadow that we turn to, and we just try to speak out.
Yes. Hello? Are you there?
Ooh.
It's always interesting to approach a shadow like that, because does it even speak a language? Is it even aware of its own existence? Is it a ghost from beyond? Is it haunting that area, or is it someone who's there to tell us something concrete?
As a shadow falls onto the shadow of that other person up against the mountain, the shadows merge, and our own shadow is torn from us and becomes part of this creature that grows larger in front of us, looming over us.
Oh.
And it is a conglomeration of shadows. But it's also a conglomeration of all the shadows that's escaped.
Yeah.
So it is this sort of faint convening of power that is left, that has not been caught up by the wizard. And as we speak to it, it is as if we're speaking to ourselves, but also speaking to everyone else in this world who feels like we do.
Mm.
And we're speaking with all the people who have resisted the power of the sorcerer. And I like that
that already we have a fellowship of shadows.
Yes.
That is willing to greet us, perhaps even help us. We can only hope.
Yes. We speak to the shadow.
The fellowship of shadows. I like that.
Yeah. This conglomeration of all these different shadows, and we speak out, and we're trying to seek some kind of advice or guidance. But right now it's just consuming our shadow, and it's telling us to run, and also telling us that if we meet the shadow again, we shall never escape.
Okay. So what the shadow is saying is run like hell.
Run like hell. And if there's anything that can motivate us to run or to give us something, it is that all these shadows can only be saved if we somehow turn the tide on this.
Yeah, if we manage to get the message across.
Yes. But it also says if we ever see it again, we're doomed. So what happens now is that this card goes into the deck and we shuffle.
So, we shuffle. Ooh.
So if we find it again...
Ooh. Let's hope not. But I like the idea that the only way to succeed, the only way of making it, is to run so fast that you'll never meet your shadow again.
Yes. We're running faster than our own shadow.
Yeah.
Because perhaps the shadow, they also represent all the manipulation, all these things that were buried, the whole, the subconscious of these people.
The whole backstory, all the baggage, all the lies we've been told.
These are all the souls that escape, basically. That's becoming this one dark black shadow that roams the wild. And we don't want to be near it.
No.
And that's what it tells us. It's a little bit like in the first story, I think, where we discovered that perhaps the best friend was someone who would actually take our life.
Yeah.
Because that was the only way we'd be able to escape.
Yeah.
Okay. This is enough shuffling for now. And by the way, we don't have any gold coins. Mary doesn't have any gold coins. So we run on, spurred on by the shadow, hoping not to meet it again. Let's see. What do we see out there in the wastelands?
We have a mighty army gathering on the horizon.
Uh-oh. Are those... Is that the sorcerer who has discovered that we're gone?
The sorcerer's army? One of his generals?
Or is it a battle about to take place? Or
are we about to run through a battlefield?
Or are we being chased by all this?
Would the sorcerer put that much effort into chasing us down?
Or is this like the last hold of a village fighting against the demons that are starting to be conjured up in the mist around the tower?
Maybe it's a village that is besieged by the sorcerer. One of the few villages who never gave up and never gave in to the lies.
And they're about to have their last stand.
Yeah. Is that a safe place for us to go, or is that just a town waiting to fall?
Maybe. I mean, all the other towns we've seen have already fallen, right? So why would this one survive? They have held out longer than the others,
yes. It's the last bastion against the sorcerer's plague on the land.
It's hard to say, but the other options are not necessarily good either, because here we have someone who's walking around with a whip, it seems.
A pack leader.
Yeah, and he's leading a pack of wolves.
It would be, I think this is one of the henchmen that the sorcerer has sent out for us, with this pack of wolves.
With his hunting wolves.
Yeah. That's not something you want to hear in the faint distance as you're running through a forest.
I mean, if it's between a pack of wolves that are chasing us and joining the last stand of a village.
Yeah, then I definitely know what I would choose.
Yeah. So let's see what the third thing is here. What is this sickly, strange character with a morning star, where the morning star is a skull?
These seems to be some sort of wanderers who is unaffected by whatever is going on.
But look, they also look as if he looks as if he's lost his mind, right?
Yeah.
Like he's completely mad.
And I think maybe that's why they're not part of the plot. That's why they're not, they haven't been summoned to the ritual, because they are sort of living in between worlds. They're not engaging with the reality.
Well, one of these could be the person from our first story, or someone like him, who just goes insane in the mist, and because the thing is that I think the first person in the story, in the first person, he lost his shadow, and then it kind of came into him again. But I think if his shadow is out of his body, he's not any use to the sorcerer, and then he's like an empty vessel.
And if you look closely, he has no shadow.
Yeah, he has no shadow. He's one of the shadowless.
Yeah. So I think could be a potentially dangerous card to interact with, actually.
Okay, so
but this is Joker card, I would say. This is Joker card.
Yeah.
You go both ways.
We're being hunted by packs of shadow wolves.
Yeah. Ferocious shadow wolves.
And there are mindless stragglers roaming the country.
Yeah, it's that's what we're thinking.
Yeah.
It's the person from the first story when he has lost his shadow.
Yes, and he's just roaming around. There may not be anything evil about him,
no,
but he may just be an empty shell.
Yeah. And I think he's dangerous because he can swing both ways.
Yeah.
Because when do we meet him? Do we meet him when he's fixed on going to the ritual? Or do we meet him when he's already gone insane and started losing faith?
Right. So, I mean, my feeling is that run away from the wolves.
Definitely.
They go out, right?
Yeah.
We take the wolves out. We leave them behind. We're not going to face them.
No.
And then there's an interesting question, because joining the last stand also sounds desperate.
It sounds desperate, and also it feels like the safe option right now. Mm-hmm. But in 2 or 3 days, when the wizards, ever-growing army eventually takes over the town, we're gonna have the same problem all over again.
Look, all the villages we've been through have been burned down.
Yeah.
And we already know that the wizard is not someone you can fight with swords. You can only fight him with the mind, only with the conviction that his way is not the right way.
And also, what is the use of going to a town that's already rebelling? We want to reach those far out towns that perhaps haven't even been in contact with the conflict yet, or is on the verge of making that decision. Because these people going there would be preaching to the choir.
This is probably a frontier town. This is the next town to be overtaken by the minions of the evil overlord.
And we see smoke plumes on the horizon. We know the fate of all the nearby villages.
Yeah. You can see the smoke up there billowing in the sky.
Yeah, no, it's not a good sign.
Like the souls being transformed.
It's spelling doom.
Yeah, I think you're right. It seems like a safe option, but this safe haven is too close.
Yeah. And it would just be a temporary respite, and then we would have to inevitably run.
So, okay, let's face our insane hero from the first act, who has lost his shadow, and whose shadow was part of that shadow creature that we met before. Yeah. We also now actually are shadowless.
So perhaps we have a common bond here.
Yes.
Perhaps we can communicate in that way.
And perhaps somehow there is a sense of trust.
The shadowless.
Let's do it. All right. I hope he hasn't turned completely.
Yeah.
So this guy rambles.
Yeah, and of course, because when we last left him, he was completely out of it. He was seeing things, he was having visions, he was tripping, basically. And so he no longer knew what was up and down, what was right, what was wrong, what is the sorcerer's world, what is the real world. He didn't know anymore.
Right.
So
he approaches us and he says insane things like, "You've killed your parents, you cut up your parents, you've done horrible things to all your friends, everyone around you." And
even we start to doubt him because we don't remember much from before.
No, because we basically just blacked out until we found ourselves in the dungeons of the tower.
Yeah. So we had been under the spell of the sorcerer up until we made our escape.
And he's saying, like, you know, don't feel sorry. Everyone here has done that. We have all mutilated our children. We have all killed the people that we love. We have all fed on the hatred of each other. And that hatred extends also to you. I feel, and he starts like moving the skull on a chain back and forth, swinging it. And
Ominous.
there's no recognition of anything in his eyes. We're not going to be able to speak any sense to him.
Oh no.
So he's probably
delusional.
lost.
He's delusional.
Yeah, he's in a trance. He's insane. He's laughing. He's screaming. He's talking about bloody murder.
Not good. Not good.
No. So basically, what we have to do is just to try to get away from him.
Yeah.
He starts swinging his club.
So once again, we run like hell.
Yes. So what we have to do is that, you know, we can try to retain our sanity and try to speak to him to make sense, or we can just that fear he's projecting, that doubt he's inserting into our mind.
Yeah.
We can take that doubt on and run with it, or we can try to change the narrative somehow, so we don't
Snap him
end
out
up
of it, or
or you know, get ourselves really not to have those images in our mind of us doing terrible things to people around us.
Yeah.
We look down at our hands and we almost see the blood there. But the thing is, if we do that and try to stay our ground, he's walking closer to us and he's swinging that club around. We may not be able to convince him of anything else. So what do we do?
I say we run.
We just take the guilt and the shame and the pain and the images of ourselves, you know.
We don't have time for this.
No.
We don't have time to convince a delusioned character.
Images flash across our mind of ourselves in our siblings' bedroom, and there's bloodied sheets everywhere, and strips and pieces of flesh, and there's blood on our hands. And we just see how we drop the knife from our hands to the floor, and as we leave the house. And we don't know if this happened or not, but it's in our mind. It's a memory. It's in our mind. He still manages to, with his club, lash out of us, and we stumble and we trip and we fall and we twist our ankle, and he hits us on the side of our hip, so we kind of have to limp onwards, one foot dragging behind. But he's also so insane that he's not really focused on what he's doing, so we get away from him.
Thank God.
But we have a twisted ankle, and we have like a bad wound in our hip.
Shit.
And we suffer from insanity, confusion, and mind disruption. We have lost, like, things have been implanted in our minds that we now see ourselves as someone who has done horrible deeds.
Not only can we now not run like hell,
no,
most we can do is stumble and fumble through the forest or through the marshes, but we're also now plagued with visions that may or may not be from our actual memory of us murdering our siblings.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's kind of tough. Also because, I mean, I think that also it has to make us question the purity of our mission, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
are we any better than the sorcerer?
That's the thing, right? That
who
doubt.
Who are we to warn people about someone when we ourselves are capable of horrendous things?
We are soiled in blood.
Yeah.
We are, no better. And perhaps we're also we're doubting human nature. What is it that we're trying to save?
Yeah.
People who can do this.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if maybe that's why we got away. Maybe the ritual focuses on people who are pure of heart.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, and perhaps that's part of the corruption that comes with it. That it also instills in these people that a sense of I mean, a sense of self-loathe, basically.
Yeah.
That we're all soiled, we're all tainted. There is no better world.
Yeah.
So that sparkle of hope that was there, that maybe we can live in peace in a better community, like this will always be there.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to run to save the world, but we're carrying the plague ourselves.
Exactly. So even if we reach a settlement, we convince them that that there is a terrible plot against the very land, and if we reach safety, we know that we ourselves are not any better than the sorcerer, basically.
And maybe we may just be spreading the plague to those lands. So maybe the best thing
The
to do
insanity.
is not to reach those lands.
Yeah.
I don't think that Mary is capable of not trying to reach those lands, but I think
It's not without its own problems. Because even if she, and also already the plan is a little bit doomed, because let's say she reaches a settlement and she convinces them that there is this plot going on. What can they actually do about it? Is it already too late to save the lands?
well, I think if Mary is in their midst, maybe it is.
Yeah. Because what are they saving? They're saving a murderer.
Yeah. And one who perhaps also now can, project those same images into the people's minds.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's part of how the sorcerer, he works. Instead of making all that effort to, kill and smother all those people himself, he just distorts people's minds and have them go at each other's throats.
Yeah. That's how it was so easy for him.
Yeah.
To persuade all the elders to send their youngs to the ritual.
Yes. And maybe also why there are so few of the young left, because people are just stabbing each other in their sleep for no good reason. Tiny arguments turns into murderous brawls.
And presumably everyone in these lands are cursed with visions of what they're capable of, or maybe even of what they have done.
Yes.
So everyone goes around hiding the secret of their own corruption.
Yes. And the question is, maybe it's true.
Maybe it's true.
Maybe
they
people are capable of that, and maybe that knowledge itself corrupts.
Oh, deep lore here. Wow. So there is a stigma in everyone.
Yes, and he is just basically bringing that stigma to the fore.
He's feeding off the stigma.
The doubt, the feeling that, you could smother your child in its bed, or you could kill your parents over an argument, or that they could do these deeds. Is that doubt is there, and some people are starting to act on it.
Yeah. And with his psycho blasts that he can inflict on people, he can enhance those thoughts. And he can enhance the doubt.
Maybe the Jester King was right, that insanity is the only refuge from the Black Sorcerer.
Yeah.
Maybe this guy that we met in the first story is now in a better place, in a sense that, he's fled into that insanity, and is the only place where he can avoid becoming food for the sorcerer. But at the same time, that insanity is it's destructive.
Insanity is the only shield against self-doubt.
Yes.
And the self-doubt is being weaponized by the sorcerer.
Yes. And so people are fleeing into insanity, which is causing this madness all over the land.
Wow. Okay, this is very, very dark.
All right. So this is turning ugly.
Ooh, I don't like the look of this.
This is a landscape full of shadowy creatures, none of which look friendly, or none of them look like they have any sanity left, or this is how it ends, kind of.
And I
feeling.
think is this.
See here, but this here almost looks like an ambush, because there are people up there on the hill as well.
Yeah, maybe we walk through
a valley or something, and then now there's people on all edges of the mountain.
Yeah. It's. I think it's a mountain pass or something, and
mountain
someone
pass,
maybe
yeah.
want to, have something from us, but we have nothing to give.
No, we have a broken ankle and a frail mind.
Yeah. Our mind is very frail now. We have all these visions of us doing terrible things. Then there is something really nasty.
Guardian of some sort.
Kind of skull-faced guardian with a morning star. And I don't know what's down there to the left. If that is, again, one of our visions of innocence about to be crushed by this guy.
No.
What are we actually seeing here? Is this real life things, or is it just our imagination?
Is it just a figment of our imagination? Is it a horror vision?
Is that why we're seeing death and destruction everywhere now? Like nothing of this looks positive.
This one, could these be? Could we be so lucky that these are two hunters that from a nearby settlement that we meet in the forest?
Maybe.
Or are they? Are they hanging each other? Is it a hanging we're witnessing here?
I don't know if they're fighting, or if they're just arguing, or if they're friends, but they also look weird and shadowy, and they brandish a long sword.
Yeah.
But I think there are no good options here.
There are no good options here.
And I think, and I really think that what we're seeing now is part the world, and it's also part Mary's mind playing as she's escaping.
So maybe we also should take some chances here, because if we can't trust our own mind to make good judgments anymore, maybe we should be a little bold.
Yes.
And take some chances, because our mind is playing tricks.
Yes.
So these could be obscured images of reality.
Also, I think if we want to try to dispel the images in our mind, perhaps we just have to face the worst image that we can find.
Yeah.
And then just trust that it isn't true.
Yeah.
And go straight into it.
Yeah.
And embrace it.
So what is the worst image here? I'm saying one of these two.
Yeah, and I'm saying this because this is all concentrated in one image.
Yeah.
Whereas this here is more spread out, like an ambush. This here to me is the face of Mary's fear and doubt. And
that's the demon within.
So the question comes now, is this image real?
Yeah.
When we go up to this guy and give him a hug, what happens?
Yeah, maybe we don't give him a hug. Maybe
we don't give him a hug. But does this guy, can we just talk sense to him, and then it turns out just to be any other young person?
It could be a fisherman, and we're just conscrewing the image so it looks more like a morning star.
Maybe. Also because we have that vision of what looks like a child wrapped in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by this one.
Yeah. And what are we gonna leave behind?
Maybe leave that one behind then, because since
that's the safest.
It feels the safest, so we shouldn't go there.
Yeah, that's just an argument.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw them out, and we're gonna put the ambush at the bottom. So we're gonna choose something worse than an ambush in a barren land controlled by an evil sorcerer.
Yeah.
And that's this guy. Who is that? We're seeing violent apparitions.
I knew it.
Yes. So, and it's difficult to see clearly, but it's because it's dark, and we also notice that the sun hasn't risen in days or perhaps even weeks.
Yeah.
And all the shadows blend in together. And this apparition is now coming towards us and is brandishing that huge morning star, and it's whirling it around in the air, and he comes towards us.
But can we trust this vision, or should we just...
Do we have some kind of magic item to dispel this vision?
We have our shadow? No, we don't have our shadow.
We don't have a shadow anymore.
We don't have anything. We have a broken ankle and a torn hip.
Yeah. And perhaps we reach for that cross, but it's no longer there.
No, it was taken before the ritual was about to begin.
Yeah. There is just the burn mark that it left.
Exactly, yes.
So we don't have, which means that we are unable to dispel the apparition.
Yes.
So it comes at us. So we can either choose to fight it physically or spiritually. So do we...
Well, we do have a frail mind, so we don't have anything. We don't have much, to fight back with.
No, but still, perhaps physically, we have a broken ankle. We can't run.
It's even worse.
We don't have any weapons, and we don't have weapons training. I mean,
no. So it's mental. So it has to be a mental battle.
We have to conjure up everything we can, but our mind is completely frayed. But we're trying to look for something, some sparkle of hope,
and just trying to convince ourselves with the last bit of hope that this has got to be an illusion, that this is not what it appears to be.
Because if we become convinced that it is what it appears to be, then reality is changed forever.
Yeah, and if it is what it appears to be, then it's too powerful for us.
Yes, but I think there is a possibility that this is just a play of the mind.
Yeah,
but are we strong enough to dispel it?
I don't know. I'm doubting.
Right. So we muster up all our psychical power. And there is kind of a shimmering of that figure. Like we sort of see it fade away and come back into. We see that on one hand, we see the morning star coming right toward us, but for a moment it disappears, and it's like it goes through our body invisibly and comes out on the other side. And this figure concentrates even more and look at us, and it's shimmering, and it's shimmering, and it's shimmering, and we see glimpses of the land through it. Suddenly we see trees grow on the hills. We see waterfalls, we see rivers running through the land, and then we see them blighted again. So everything is flickering like a TV between two channels. It's going back and forth between these two images. And we try to concentrate the best we can on this bright image. And suddenly we see the sun rising for the first time in weeks above the horizon.
Wow.
When the solid ball of steel smashes into the side of our head and lays us dead in the barren waste.
Oh no! I was sure we were gonna get out of that one. No, crushed, death crush.
We had a last apparition of perhaps really this whole Doom Pilgrim world is a question of also perspective.
Yeah. Do you believe?
Do you believe in anything other than this Doom Deeper world? And there are those flashes.
And I think if we had been stronger of mind, if we hadn't been thrown off by our shadowless, insane friend, we might have had the mental fortitude to stand up to this apparition.
I'm pretty sure we would have. I mean, we were almost there, but our minds were so distraught after meeting this ghost-like figure.
And the same thing happened because he beat us up with his club, but only because we doubted if he was real or not.
Yes.
If what he was saying, if what he believed was real. He instilled in us horrible visions of what we might be capable of, what we might even have done in the past that we don't remember. And for a moment, we believed the insanity.
Yes.
And that's how he struck us down. And that's how our mental ambiguity, our mental weakness became real physical wounds.
We had simply not enough power left to defeat it. But it did. I think there was that one shimmer of hope that if you can somehow muster the positivity to see through all the gloom in this barren world, then maybe there is some kind of end of the pilgrimage. There is some kind of place where you can go and you can live in seclusion and happiness.
So the darkness is a veil that's being that's fallen in front of the eyes of the people of this land.
Yes, but also because these people are all humans and they all have fears, they all have impulses, they all have desires. And that doubt that comes with that, when you feed that enough, then that just becomes the only accepted reality.
Yeah.
So the only accepted reality is just that everything is blighted and we just live our lives driven by these base desires.
Driven by fear and insecurity.
Yeah.
And the idea that the world outside is a dangerous, horrible place that's out to hurt you. And if it doesn't come for you, you're so corrupt yourself that you're gonna bring the madness on yourself.
And I don't know who can see through all that. I don't know who can look at the world and retain that positivity and feel that they're being honest and true.
Yeah. Who can rightfully say that they are beyond that mental struggle?
Yeah, and I mean, what Mary saw, was that real even?
Yeah. I'm not sure it was real.
No, it was a glimpse of something, but maybe it was a glimpse of what she hoped or how she wanted it to be, or...
So is this whole game, Doom Deeper, is this a journey in the frail human mind more than it is a journey of a fantasy doomed world? Is it a mental place?
I think so. I mean, like this John Bunyan, Pilgrim's Progress, these lithograph images we have here in our slideshow, where the pilgrimage is all an allegory, right? Everything is an allegory. So doubt and fear and hatred and all these have physical forms, and they're dispelled by belief in that allegory. In this world, I don't think belief is going way too beyond, or at least it's just belief in some general sense of human decency. If you can just muster that humans can do just a tiny little bit of good,
yes,
then you may be able to dispel it. But what this game shows is just the nightmares, the anxieties, the fears. To win this game is basically to dispel the delusion that it musters up, because I don't think there is any card in this game that will show you that. So you have to make that leap of faith yourself as a player, perhaps.
Yeah. Can you overcome the doubt?
Yeah.
The doubt of insanity. Are you slowly going insane?
Because I think even if, I don't know how anyone manages to play through this deck.
No.
But say you did manage to play through the deck.
Without going insane first.
Yeah.
Or being beaten on the head with a club.
Being maimed, or having your legs rot off, or your eyes gouge out, or your tongue fall out, and spiders coming through your mouth, without any of those horrible things happening. And even if you got there, I mean, what would be left? Then what would be left would be like an empty black cloth.
Yeah.
That would be it.
Because what is the purpose? What is the end goal here?
Yeah.
Does it even exist? Is there? You made it. Congratulations, card.
No, I mean, this is the canvas on which all these dark thoughts and images are projected.
Everything emanates from black space.
Yeah. And then you can conjure up something positive, but this game is not interested in that. This game is interested in dealing with all the dark recesses of the soul.
Yes.
And that's why we love it, I guess.
Yeah. No, these were some great playthroughs. And I also think we learned a few things from last time playing Doom Pilgrim, the original game. And we took that to heart in this expansion. And I think the way we played it is much more just going with our own story.
Yeah.
Basically. Because all these cards have different interactions and different encounters that don't necessarily correlate to the cards that you've encountered before.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's like a stream of consciousness, the way the game plays out. But we sort of forced it to be a coherent story.
Yeah. I think there are two ways you can play this game. You can many ways you can play this game, but you can play it where you follow the cards sort of more precisely and more mechanically follows what happens.
Yeah.
And that can be a great solo experience for you to play through. For us, it's interesting to see, can we make sense of the game?
Yeah.
So it's not only a stream of encounters, but it also, there's some kind of overarching stories. And I think one of the things that we talked about today that we wanted to do was to try to see every set of 3 cards that we lay out as a coherent whole. So instead of seeing it as 3 things that might happen, then see these are 3 sort of, this is a panorama.
Yeah.
This is what the character sees right now. So these are choices that these things all exist in the world, and you can choose to avoid them or you can choose to go toward them.
Yeah.
But it's not 3 completely dissociated things.
No, they're part of the same story, and all these things are possibilities.
Yeah.
It's not either or. And even one in our last story, we even made the choice to just run the gauntlet, go through them all.
Yeah.
Just because they just lined up so well in our minds when we saw the artwork. And I think that's also a lovely thing about this game, that you're guided by the artwork all the time.
Yeah.
It's like tarot cards. You have to sort of go with your gut, go with your intuition. How do you interpret this card? And what do you think lies beneath?
Yes. And I think one of the tricks to playing this game can be to really try to imagine what the card is before you turn it over.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, then what you read on the card, and as you can see, there's a lot of text on the back of these cards. But if you read that text with already some conception in your mind about where does this card fit into the story, you can sort of massage that text to be part of your own story.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any thoughts before you turn it around, then you're perhaps more liable to just follow what is written. But I think things can be massaged in a way.
And I think you can, of course, play it as a new encounter. Every card is a new encounter,
Sure.
and that's cool. But I also think it's fun to sort of play around with it and see, like, can you massage it? Can you make it into your own little world, your own little story?
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of world building going on.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun building this world and making this mega narrative and trying to figure out what was going on, and then adding these little stories. And I think, I mean, one of the things that continues to amaze me about this game is actually really how dark it is.
Yeah, it's so unbelievably, wonderfully dark.
I don't think we have played anything darker than this.
No.
It's been both time we've played. This hits rock bottom.
and I love that it plays both on the mental darkness, the despair, the insanity of it all, and also pure physical, brutal horror.
Yeah. I mean, it's no coincidence that a lot of our stories were about madness and delusion and doubting the reality of something, and that the game basically ended sort of in a flicker between reality and delusion. And unfortunately, the grim reality won over the blissful delusion. Because that's very much, I feel, what this game sort of encourages you to, or it inspires you to be in that. I mean, a card like this here, what is this wonderful image, right? Of some kind of jesters in a kind of a carnival card that looks like a tower. And I mean, the imagery, it's surreal, it's dark, it's beautiful, it's
I think one of the main selling points for this game, not that it's not a great game in its own right, but just to have this accompaniment of amazing artwork that's so coherent, even though there are 150 cards with a lot of varying motifs, but they all have a coherency in the texture, in the design of the characters, in the design of the environments, in the palette, it's only shades of nuances, of colors, and of tonality that is so coherent. And I don't understand how Waclaw, the creator, is able to create so much art that is so cohesive. It's really a feat, and it's I think just for the cards alone, the visuals of the cards alone, you could acquire these cards and use them as inspiration for an encounter in a Dungeons and Dragons session.
Yeah. I mean, we were even talking about basically playing the card without never turning them around and looking at the text, but just basically tell stories from the images. And I think we could easily do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that would just be another mode, and perhaps
like the free-form mode.
Yeah, and perhaps if you return to this game in the future, basically just play it from the images.
Yeah. It reminds me of that game Dixit.
Oh yeah.
Where you put up cards and you want your friends to sort of interpret the cards in the sense that you put out an idea and you ask your friends to interpret the cards, and you could actually play that game with these cards.
You could play Dixit with these cards, I'm
Definitely,
sure,
yeah.
because they're also ambiguous, right?
Yeah.
So what is this image? Is this Karen on the river Styx, ferrying the dead souls?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, is this a banana with a skull in the end? Or, I mean, there's a lot of ambiguity in these cards.
And so I challenge you to play Dixit with these cards.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's have a Doom Pilgrim Dixit session.
Yes. No,
it might not be on stream, but we'll definitely do it.
I think like New Year's Eve, we're gonna have a Doom.
Yeah, we always play Dixit on New Year's Eve, so this time we're gonna do a Doom Dixit.
That could be amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Will only be horror films.
Doom Dixit Deeper.
Yeah. No, but thank you, everyone. I think this is the end of the stream. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us and listening to our ramblings on. This was a lot of fun. Once again, we just took it and ran with it. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to Waclaw, who made the game and who sent us a copy of it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That was very nice of Waclaw. And I mean, we'll see you next time for more madness.
More madness.
In whatever form.
More hopelessness.
Absolutely more hopelessness. So we hope that you had a truly hopeless Halloween.
Yes, Halloween, yes.
Yeah.
Perfect game for Halloween, actually.
Yes. And there's only one thing.
The disguise is inside your head.
Oh, yeah.
The mental disguise. Before we leave, let's just appreciate Jeden. Thank you for great dark stream. Thank you. Thanks you so much, guys. It was great fun. Good night, Waclaw. Thank you. And good night, and thank you to everyone. And we have our saying. What is that?
Stop winning.
Stop winning. Start losing.
Stay hopeless.